very fast team, they're kind of unpredictable. What is so difficult about this team?
I think they just play a lot differently than most other teams, I guess. Pretty much all of the top teams right now, especially at this event, not always, they play very safe and they're very like chill, they don't really take risks. And these guys are kind of the opposite. They are always ready to take risks, and Schofield is like charging into 5 heroes. If he dies, he goes again. If he dies, he goes again. So I would say they play, I guess, with less care, and I guess we got caught off guard by it, even though we knew it was coming. And yeah, good luck to them, and hopefully they can do it for other teams as well.
Indeed, they did play very well, so they were worthy opponents. Let's talk about next season. Obviously, this season has ended for you. What are your plans for next season as a team and for you personally?
I think we'll see how it goes. Obviously, it's not the kind of stuff to discuss in a post-loss interview.
I'm just trying to get some info, got to try. And finally, obviously, you guys have a lot of fans around the world watching Tundra and rooting for you guys. Do you have any words for them at the end of this season now?
Just thank you for everyone who was watching us. I know it was a disappointing end to the season for us, but yeah, we received a lot of love and support throughout the whole season. We had a lot of good results, so thank you, and sorry it had to end this way.
We're very sorry to see you go.
Say they play, I guess, with
section.
They're very like chill. They don't really.
This year, you guys have gone out in the lower bracket at this stage. Unexpected for you, I'd suggest, but also you're playing with a stand-in. Toby deserves a shout-out for getting you this far, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he played great, and he came exactly when we needed him, and yeah, big thank you to Toby.
Indeed. What makes this team so hard to play against? Because a lot of people have been saying the Heroic are a very fast team, they're kind of unpredictable. What is so difficult about this team?
I think they just play a lot differently than most other teams, I guess. Pretty much all of the top teams right now, especially at this event, not always, they play very safe and they're very like chill, they don't really take risks. And these guys are kind of the opposite. They are always ready to take risks, and Schofield is like charging into 5 heroes. If he dies, he goes again. If he dies, he goes again. So I would say they play, I guess, with less care, and I guess we got caught off guard by it, even though we knew it was coming. And yeah, good luck to them, and hopefully they can do it for other teams as well.
Indeed, they did play very well, so they were worthy opponents. Let's talk about next season. Obviously, this season has ended for you. What are your plans for next season as a team and for you personally?
I think we'll see how it goes. Obviously, it's not the kind of stuff to discuss in a post-loss interview.
I'm just trying to get some info, got to try. And finally, obviously, you guys have a lot of fans around the world watching Tundra and rooting for you guys. Do you have any words for them at the end of this season now?
Just thank you for everyone who was watching us. I know it was a disappointing end to the season for us, but yeah, we received a lot of love and support throughout the whole season. We had a lot of good results, so thank you, and sorry it had to end this way.
We're very sorry to see you go. Let's get a big round of applause for Netta and Team Tundra. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you again soon. Back to the panel.
Thank you so much, Ted. Yeah, an abrupt end to the Tundra journey here. Definitely not what people expected. Actually, only 16% of people predicted that Heroic were going to take this series. There wasn't really that faith when it comes to that wider audience, and Heroic having that carefree sort of playstyle that 33 just mentioned there, that's what really got them the win here, Lucas. The fact that they're able to shake things up between a Game 1 and a Game 2 when it comes to execution.
Being unpredictable, I think this is the big part of it. Drafting like this, where nobody expects you to go for these type of heroes, and something that he talked about is Schofield. This guy's a maniac, and this is how he played throughout his whole career, pretty much. These are his heroes as well. We're talking about Clockwork, we're talking about Tusk that he just played as well. These are his signature heroes that he really excels playing, and I would say that when they go for something like this, you gotta respect it. But we also seen them adjusting after what happened yesterday. We talked about a lot about this position 4. It didn't work out when they were playing against the position, but this time around they let it go through, which is also a bit of a statement saying that we can beat this. We can beat the best teams in the world, playing our own strategies, not going for these Helm of the Dominators, but if you go for it, we're gonna punish you for it.
A fine line between that stubbornness, right, of if it's going to work out or not, but also confidence in knowing we did have an answer. There just wasn't that execution. But I thought you were going to talk a little bit more about Yuma, right, because he was the big standout in how this early game played. Game 1, Tundra expected some early gate rotations from Yuma. It didn't come. In game number 2, they were actually caught off guard by the fact that he then went back and started doing those rotations.
Yeah, this time around they did not place an observer ward, so it did allow Yuma to go through the twin gate, something that he's really known for, something that he does use the most out of every carry that I've seen so far at the tournament. And look who it is. That is Schofield. You don't expect them to be at this point of the game in this particular part of the map.
6 minutes.
Yeah, it's 6 minutes in. He's going like, this is the type of Dota that they want to play. They want to be very chaotic. Then 9 minutes in, they're going to be doing the same thing, going through the twin gates, pairing up with Schofield again, getting a kill on Saksa. But it also shows the type of Dota they want to be playing. They want to be playing aggressive, getting some of these early kills, and try to snowball from there.
And also they don't play by the rules, right? I mentioned 6 minutes because what is 6 minutes? You go to the rune and you control the rune for your mid laner. They don't care, you know? They're just doing, okay, I see this guy, he's walking into my territory, I want to kill him. That's it.
That's the risk, is like, if you make this play and you're sacrificing what is the normal order of operations, which is go mid for the power rune, you are sacrificing something for nothing, and you can legitimately just like lose the game. This is why I love that 33 was saying that.
I think it allows them to go for this type of a play because they don't care about 6 minute rune, because you do have Broodmother who is level 6 at the time.
Yeah, it goes back to the
rune.
draft.
Yeah, pretty much. So you can send the spiders, kill the runes. Invoker doesn't care too much about the runes, neither does Broodmother. So it does allow them to go for this type of play.
Yeah.
It wasn't all love and lost for the side of Tundra. Yes, there were those early parts that kind of catch you off guard, but there were still a lot of great moments for them when it came to team fight. That was something you guys highlighted so much about the strength of their draft, was the team fights. And early on, around 10, 11 minutes, that's when we started seeing it kick into gear and take place.
I mean, all this also came down to the fact that the Brute, he was able to control a lot of the map. And you can see the Monkey King setting up right away here, like, again, you know, trying to create some space for Crystallis to come.
Really pushing the limits on the hero here on Monkey King. He's actually gonna be surviving, and really nice spell casting coming up from DZM's Invoker. Always a 3 to watch pretty much, but 11 minutes in, I wanted to see this type of a play from Tundra, seeing that they have overwhelming team fight, which is gonna result in multiple kills. Sure, Saksa is gonna die in the end, but they're sticking around for another 35 seconds. They feel like they can still be taking the fight. They have Global Silence ready pretty much, all the green lights on the top already, except for the Wukong's command that they just used. They're gonna be ready to clean up. Invoker at this point of the game, he feels relatively strong. Does having that Helm of the Dominator, does having multiple Forge Spirits, and this time around they will be killing Whisper and killing his egg, because we've seen this Underworld being utilized really well in terms of dealing with the early Broodmother aggression that she wants to do, and also coming in with this global presence, bringing that +1, being able to get a couple of extra hits on the egg.
And by the way, 33 went treads on Sand King, so he had more like right-click potential for the egg. I love that he does this. This is why like this is such a, it's a sad series to see Tundra go, because you know that they're the ones that are going to come up with these little micro things underneath that makes Dota so beautiful, you know? It worked out in that situation, killing the egg, it gives them an advantage in the game. But,
yeah, it doesn't eventuate to it, but you do talk about like this global aspect of it, the mobility of Tundra too, and that could have been something that was great against how aggressive Heroic were going, but there weren't always connections, Jenkins. Sometimes a pickoff happens, and in one of the particular situations, that then leads into a rough fight.
Yeah.
For Tundra.
this was the big one, and the reason that Tundra was not expecting it was because this is 4v5. Whisper's the strongest hero. He was not there, and Heroic still goes for it anyway, and they make the play. From this, you can see Crystallis is still dead. They rotate everybody towards bottom, then they get a kill bot. This transitions into even more kills, and then they take Roshan. So, like, from a single, extremely risky play, smoking 4 versus 5, not only 4 versus 5, but your strongest hero is dead. So you're banking on the fact that Tundra's going to split up, because nobody who's sane is going to smoke with the strongest hero being dead while in a disadvantaged game.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like they only did that because there was a ward there, right? They saw the position of the heroes, that's why they decided. It wasn't like a blind risk, you know? They saw the hero's position and they decided.
They knew everybody else had to have gone portal because nobody walked back through the river. So if they find somebody in the river, they're alone.
Yeah, so I think it comes down to they're really calm in the situation. The one hero is there, and they made the right decision. They played really well there.
There's one moment that was probably very unfortunate. I'm not going to say it was the turning point by any means, Jenkins, but definitely an unfortunate moment that you like to have a little bit of a laugh over.
We have to rewatch this. I mean, this is just one of those things about Dota. There are so many mechanics in this game that you have the Underlord portal locking Crystallis on the cliff there, and in a lot of situations, okay, I'll go back to the portal, not against a punch. Like, in that situation, you're stunning yourself to get hooked in as one of the strongest heroes in the game. I mean, at this point, who cares, right?
You know what the Chinese name for Underlord is? It's Big Ass. For this particular reason, he gets stuck easily.
That was a washing machine type situation for him there.
Yeah, okay, really.
Good job, guys.
Stuck in that one. We're going to move forward because I don't know how to from that. It's our scoreboard here for the end of the game. Heroic turn 2-0. The numbers are just lining up as well for you, Winter, where you're like, Heroic through a series that game 1 is so dependent for them throughout it.
Yeah.
They come in, get another 2-0.
They come in, they have a plan, and if the plan works, it works, you know. And if it doesn't, according to the stats, it doesn't work, you know. They don't really adjust very well. But this game, they didn't really need to adjust. But I would like to really comment on this Brood. I think this Brood is a pick where it really made life very, very difficult for the Invoker. The Invoker couldn't really push the mid tower. They lost control of that section of the map. And a lot of the plays were happening because the play is pushed out. And Brood is very easy to push out the mid. And whenever you push out the mid, it means that you're and I felt like that as a big.
Yeah, every call really stepping up to what was needed for them. Like the carry part of the biggest one. This team, Heroic, the chef kiss coming out.
That was amazing. Amazing gameplay.
It was really good because yesterday they had that strat come out as well, right? We didn't know where it was going to go with the potential flex. It ended up being off lane, didn't work out. They're still running it back. They're still banking on people thinking that it's a flex, not really knowing where it is. And this time it just finds so much success in the carry role.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I mean, it fits Yuma's playstyle perfectly. Like a hero that can run around and get kills and be active. And I do think this is something that I've seen a lot in pro level pubs. It was popular before TI even started, which was people were going for BKB refresher. And legitimately, like, you don't need armor items if you can refresh the flushing. That's like the idea. Refresh your December, refresh your BKB. It feels like it's immortal. This like 12-second period. And I do think Pudge is a lot better before than people are realizing. Heroic. Yeah, now Tundra does as well.
And when it came to they're putting so much effort on having Whisper in this game because how well it's game number 1. And so that's why we're kind of praising a lot of the other cores on the side of Heroic, what they were able to do. But I know that he has a little bit more praising to do for the side of Tundra.
That's right. They had great heroes for beating the Phoenix, but the rest of the lineup had some issues. They picked Phoenix because he's going to be able to lane well against the carry Underlord, deny or lower his attack speed, deal damage, get last hit as a ranger. But the problem is that they picked it into a counter. The silencer is very, very good against the hero. So when you hit him with the last word ability, that makes it so that when you cast your next spell here, you're going to end up taking damage. So he ends up killing himself in this circumstance, but it gets worse than that. The main problem is that their opponents also have gap flows, so when he even wants to egg with those treads on the same king that Jenkins mentioned, or the other gap flows heroes between Monkey King, or even the Underlord ulti coming in, it's very easy for them to kill the egg. So Whisper, despite putting himself into a good lane, he had to deal with the global silence and the mobility. Here's an example of the global silence that's very tough. As the fight begins, he just gets global silence, he can't press egg. And interestingly enough, he really delayed buying protection for that. He ended up going the Spirit Vessel into the Shivas before finally solving that problem. But the good thing is that all of this focus that goes on him leaves space for Heroic to win team fights afterwards, because then the global silence is on cooldown. The rest of his teammates can basically take a straightforward fight in a normal way, because they don't have to worry about getting silenced. That kind of undermines what Tundra has going for them. And then if Whisper gets to go first, then he also doesn't have to deal with these problems as much. There was no global silence in this case, but look at the amount of damage he can output with just a Veil and the Spirit Vessel. It's very good stuff. So here's the fight where he finally gets his solution here. He picks up his BKB at this fight. Got kind of close, but presses BKB once coming back from the dive, and this finally allows him to say, no, I'm not going to die at the start of this team fight. And this was basically the turnaround point of the game. It was even up until this point, back and forth, 2k advantage. That BKB was a big game changer, allowed Whisper to basically unlock gigantic damage potential and no longer be a vulnerability for the team. And that's really when they started to get ahead and close out the game.
Thank you so much. You always see it with talk about this team fight, what exactly is it that changes? Is it a certain item timing on a hero? In this case, yes, definitely. Sometimes it's level as well. You just have to play a patient waiting game and live throughout those team fights. That's the biggest issue that teams have faced before in the past.
Yeah, for sure. I think Whisper has a great understanding. He had a great series overall, but he has a great understanding which items he needs to buy in certain situations. I think the full squad also complements each other really well. We did talk about the BKB pressure, not having any abilities, and then Whisper comes in, staying on top of the network throughout pretty much the whole game as a Phoenix, which is impressive. And his damage numbers are also through those. Before Phoenix does the same amount of damage and the same amount of heal, plus also they do have shields, they do have also Aghanim that will touch, which does allow them to counter this Underlord. Has Mask of Madness, playing against Monkey King, not a core, but still not allowing them to get any kind of heal. You want to get that Satanic eventually on your Underlord. It's just completely negating it, so they are just not playing it for one step of the game, but also taking like 2 steps ahead.
I totally agree. Like, I think a less skilled team would have their Phoenix go Dual Scepter or Local. And it looks goofy that he doesn't have the solution to such an obvious counter. Like, Heralds know that Silencer and Absolutes, you play against them once, and you know that it counters Phoenix. So you want to buy the counter items, but he realized at the end of the game, somebody needed to do damage. So they just need to play the fights differently. He doesn't just die. Or if he does, his team is getting something for the death, that the death has value. And once again, I'll just go back to, like, this is how South America has traditionally played games and won games, is they're really good at team fighting, so it's really nice to see them win this series by doing exactly that.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to watch, getting to see Heroic continue on their journey in the international, but we're going to change the pace a little bit here, and we're going to take a look at one of our finalists from the short film contest. Like the people submitting for the short film contest just keep outdoing themselves. That was so cinematic. I don't even know how creative you have to be able to do that.
That's a good facet, by the way.
No, it's not.
That is an underrated facet.
Do not tell people that.
Because then as a support, you can start stealing kills, and you have an excuse for it. Oh, I'm going for the damage amp. I just wanted, it's not stealing, it's not KSing.
Can we mute his mic? Nothing important.
Don't play support, please, Andrew.
Yeah, really valuable information. I wish they kind of did, though. That would have been awesome. We do have to look towards, though, our next series, because the eliminations do not stop. We've already said goodbye to Tundra today, but we are going to have to say goodbye to another team. We've got Enigma Galaxy up against Tidebound. I'm going to say Enigma Galaxy, fan favorites. Yeah, when it comes to this tournament, seeing them make the top 8, everyone's seeing their elimination. They've already been there twice before. Yesterday, they could have seen themselves in that upper bracket.
They could have easily. I think they had a very good shot. That first game, GH kind of carried them, especially that Phoenix performance, keeping his troll alive multiple times. We saw some really, really good Phoenix performances so far throughout the tournament, the road to the TI playoffs as well. So probably we're going to be seeing it much more, but that third game, they needed to close it out. They definitely did.
Yeah, they had it. They had it in that game 3. I mean, it was a back and forth game. It felt like there was momentum, but maybe some.
And there was also a lot of nerves, right? Judging by how they were like messing up things.
It seemed like it, like the TP from Sumail into the 5 heroes situation, and then you look at the map and go, "Oh, we're so close, actually really close. We just wait a second, just one more, or press the BKB." But it happens. It happens on the TI main stage.
I mean, good news is they have another shot today.
I was going to say, we can nitpick, but at the end of the day, we are seeing an elimination series. We do have our next matchup, and we do have our teams ready to come on stage.
And we're back. Team Tidebound. And we're back.
This roster is a mixed match of so many past successful Chinese players. We've seen them hit TI Grand Finals. We've seen them win before. We've also seen them though in this lower bracket. They're gonna have to bring everything they possibly can if they want to hit that success again, especially up against fan favorites.
Choose wisely and crush those responsible. Nigma Galaxy. Choose wisely.
Just how exactly are the stars aligned for these 5 players? So far, everything has been an uphill battle time after time. Have they had to prove themselves against tougher opponents? This time around, it's on the main stage. It's elimination, and it is still a best of 3 that could go and turn at any point for themselves.
Yeah, once again, another really brutal series. I mean, that's all we're going to see here in the elimination games. You know, Team Nigma, they have Sumail, North American pride, you know? They have the 2 players, Noob and Omar, who they put the MENA region on the map, you know? It's...
I'll be happy no matter what. There'll be a C player moving
I
forward.
knew he was gonna mention it.
I was seeing how long it would take before he should have mentioned it, but he's straight there with it. Yeah, Tidebound, Nigma Galaxy, these two don't get a lot of different players for them to see.
Yeah.
The side of Tidebound though, this is the one that I want to start with because Nigma Galaxy, their roster, changes, roles, whatever, but Tidebound, there's a stability when it comes to the offlane duo, right? Wide and Bark, or previously known as Faith Beyond, they've been together for years. 2014, I believe, was the very first year that these two were playing together as a duo. And the only time they took a break away from playing with each other was when Faith Beyond retired. For the first time.
Yeah, this is an iconic duo. They are truly buggies of the world. They have the world record for the most wins together as a duo. 1,016 wins as a duo, as buggies, with a 60% win rate. Just an incredible story. I mean, you can't mention Tidebound without mentioning Wings. You know, they have a bunch of the Wings players, and then they have some standout, Chinese players.
The coach,
The coach, Blink, he's
Blink.
also part of the
Yeah,
legendary
they have
Wing squad.
3 out of 5 on Wings.
Yeah, very reminiscent of how much success they've been able to do. We're seeing there, as you said, it's best of bubbies. So many games, and that's wins, right? That's how many games they won, not played. So it's not a 60% win rate of 1,000 games. They won over 1,000 games together.
And it's interesting because usually you see the duos and it's like a side lane duo, whereas with Block and Lai, they're not always playing together, right? This is like a...
You know how they're connected together? One is the captain and one is the offlane. They always have to keep the offlane manager.
This is true. This is true. And I think for Block, friendship and trust, respect, all of these things matter a lot to him. Like, I know he's the type of player that if he likes something, he'll play it. He'll ask for it. You just ask him what he wants in the draft, and he'll perform with it. So I think that the trust player to playing with him for a long time definitely matters a lot when it comes to drafting.
It's the priority. So I think it's one of all the things priority. Maybe if you talk about someone like Saber, doesn't have as much priority. But for Mark, he's a person that can take a lot of space, a lot of rounds, but he doesn't fit the matchup at all. So he's priority.
I think he often has the right idea too. Like I think he's an underrated person when it comes to developing meta. People. There's a lot of new guys on the block, like the 9 classes in the world that are defining new meta stuff. But Block was the first person that I saw go for Dominator on Centaur. He'll play Queen of Pain offlane before other people. He's still playing it, and honestly, I think this is quite an underrated hero. So he has very unique ideas on the game, and it's good to see a team around him that does trust him on those.
I think they have a lot of unique heroes as well that they do like to play. We're talking about, they love to play Timbersaw, even though this hero didn't still win a game. They're going to be playing Ogre, Juggernaut. Chinese teams, they love to run their Juggernaut as well, but nothing to say. Got to be careful about this guy. He loves his Primal Beast, he loves his Pango, he loves his Tinker. I would say that he has pretty similar hero pool like Malrine does. Like, he has a couple of specialty heroes that he loves to run from the mid lane, and he tends to be very explosive.
I mean, not to mention they have like a position for A, right? Not everyone actually does it. So they have a bunch of unique heroes which is picked by them, and they have their own way of playing those heroes.
Yeah, that was definitely something targeted towards my download that we have recently talked about. But on the side of the game, Garrett's rarely talked about how the longevity of Spark, Leon, and why has been connected together. The US is and Omar. They were a similar sort of story. They've been on past teams together, PSG Quest, all the way back at TI. What was that, 12 is where we saw them. But Nuke was a mid laner back then, right? He's only been transitioning over to an operator for about 1 year now, almost on the dot today. And now he's partnered with his teammates. They are still in the lane together.
I would say Omar is like the really stable one. He always kind of delivers. Pretty similar to what other position wars from the top teams are doing. Like, he's definitely on par with them in terms of lane shenanigans if they want to play into unfavorable matchups as well. Move, I would say, needed a little bit more time. It does happen when you're transitioning from the other role to the offlane role, and I think he's in a really good spot right now. Very good player, and definitely expanded his hero pool, playing against hero so far, and looking good.
I agree. I think when the roster swap initially happened and Move was switched to offlane, I don't think anybody with more than 2 brain cells didn't expect him to eventually do very well, because for the quest lineup, that entire roster was incredible. Like, they were explosive onto the scene. So I think it was only a matter of time for Move. He kind of started with transitioning some of his heroes to the offlane. I saw a lot of Snapfire offlane, which, by the way, he could still play. He could still pull that out. But then eventually started learning the more traditional offlaners. But he still does pull out the mid.
Style, I would say, when I first saw him, always felt like he's was like a team-based mid laner.
Yes.
But I feel like it might actually be better.
Agreed.
Here, initially, I saw he played an offlaner. And right now, we can see him having success on the offlane. And there you go, the common heroes that they have. And you see some, like the A that I mentioned, is only for Tidebound. I don't remember or recalling anyone else doing like a position 4A in this tournament so far.
Yeah, the interesting ones that are in common, though, the Shaker and the Shadow Fiend, they're not surprising in any way of teams wanting to play them, but I'm just surprised how many times they're able to actually play it, right? And it's very even. Tidebound getting it 4 times for the Shaker, Enigma Galaxy 3. Same with SF, 3 for Tidebound, 2 for Enigma Galaxy there. So it's interesting where it's like, are these where their wins are coming from? Is it more actually the heroes on the unique side that they're finding that success with, and you might only need one of those more stable meta heroes?
I think the distinct thing that you're going to see in the game, and from the heroes just now that we saw, is one team like Enigma Galaxy, they're going to be probably more focused on the mid laner. They're going to be playing around next to Milmo, whereas for Tidebound, they're going to be playing more on the side lanes, right? Ensuring Bug gets a good start, then you try to play, get your Helm game going on, or get the auras going on. So it'll be a very difference in style, coming to clash here.
100%, and I really do want to mention the Lone Druid. We have to talk about that.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, this was a big player in the previous series. I don't think either team, I mean, obviously making us thinking about it, but I don't think Tidebound is going to have watched the series last night and not have this on their mind as a potential.
I mean, do you think he falls in the category of a Helm counter? Like, he kills the Helm, but he deals with
He can. He definitely can. We saw some early action receptors coming up from the I believe, so he can be anywhere on the map and be able to deal with that kind of stuff there, which is super annoying.
Well, we could talk some more about this, but all I really want to do is give our audience our game one. Yeah, another elimination. One already today. A second is going to happen in this best of three. We didn't really talk about Tinker that much, right? That is something that P-Vision is a bit more synonymous with because it's going on something unique to carry, but you still have to worry about nothing to say Tinker. It's going to be so dominant.
And nobody likes talking about the hero. Nobody likes playing against the hero, except for the person playing the hero. And this is a menace right now. I think part of the reason why the hero kind of resurfaced is because of this, like, you need a core that can deal with the spin push from the help. And Tinker can kind of do that easily.
It's so easy, yeah. His scaling is so good that Satanic has played it as a carry.
Yeah.
So I agree with this ban. It's honestly, the way that I see it is, Nightbound has last pick, and so you may as well just ban it in the first phase. You know you're eventually going to have to use a ban on it.
Lycan coming out from the first phase. This hero gives you the lane push. We talked about some of the teams so far struggling, dealing with the lanes, dealing with the helm. Now you have pretty much two things. You have your own wolves, you have your helm, and you also have your own shards. You're randomly spawning these wolves in random lanes and being able to always pretty much push out the lanes. You have a bit of a global presence, you're using the armor as well, so that's pretty nice. Plus you also have Roche taking potential supports. Currently don't like them. I don't think they ever did like playing into Lycan whenever there's this zoo meta, certain supports like the ones that you did mention, like Ancient Apparition, Shadow Demon. Yeah, you can't really play into Lycan. You just play this meta.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. You kind of have to be something that is more unconventional. Like yesterday we saw the Wyvern, kind of okay. Other than that, maybe a CM. Like CM, I think sometimes can be good with the barrier. I mean, with the frostbite setup, kills on the creeps.
Okay, so they go for a lane counter to start off with.
I mean, the other
Black out
thing
the
about
way.
this pick is they play Gyro on Planet, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen him play this
Yep.
hero before. So it could also be a flex pick.
Yeah, they're not locking in their
Yeah,
tank.
which I feel like when we were talking about sides, right? I always mention that it's easier to draft when you're on the first pick because not every team has a flex hero or anything that can move around. Because on the second pick side, whenever you're picking the 16 and 17 picks, whenever you don't have a flex pick, then it can maybe be difficult for you because the opponents know exactly where your heroes are going, so they can get a very good 18 pick. So if you can find a way to make sure that the draft is not easily figured out by your opponents, you're always going to be putting yourself in a better position.
Yeah, and you mentioned the flex. Like, if something like a Doom comes out, something that counters Gyrocopter, you would say, okay, it's a support. We're going to pick some counter to what you've picked.
Yeah, the core to support flex feels way more valuable than when you're doing it with the cores, which is more just annoying and irritating, I think.
Honestly, even as a 5, Gyro is good against Lycan because 5s still go flat.
Yeah, that's the thing. If it's a 4, you don't really lean against the so defensively in this spot.
Yeah, but the thing with the flex, like, I feel like the issue is like the way you treasure the character. As long as he gets his own arm, I think he's happy. So if the Gyro actually does it, like the double.
Yeah, it's more about targeting the supports. And speaking of supports, I think Tidebound are going to be looking into, I would say, 3 heroes, something that's going to be not dying to Lycan instantly. These like Paganas, Wind Rangers, maybe Muerta, something along those lines that you have a little bit of protection for yourself until he gets that Nullifier for Pagana, which is a bit of a disastrous one. But Planet he loves to run this position for Muerta.
I would like to see that also because then Enigma can't pick it. This is also something that Omar has really
It's
been
his
enjoying.
best hero, I think.
It
so
is
far.
probably his best hero.
He played it really well
So,
yesterday.
I love this suggestion. There are so few supports that don't die to Lycan. This is one of very few.
I mean, they will go for the snap, so that's going to give them even more fight. And I think snap is a hero that is probably very stable in the way with what he provides for you in the game. He gives you a decent laning phase, you have some catch, and I think the talents are actually pretty overpowered with the
I agree.
double stun and
This
cooldown reduction.
this hero's busted. So they do take more after. Otherwise, it was going to go back the other way.
Most likely. But I'm now really liking the Mars. This hero is very popular. I think right I would say one of the better heroes against Lycan. Good job with the supports. Bane doesn't like to play into it. You always have the combo with the Snapfire to pretty much be able to kill any hero on the map. But I'm also not the biggest fan of Muerta into Snapfire and Gyrocopter. I think there's way too much magic damage that can be.
But you're also good at cancelling.
It's a
hits,
block
right?
pick. Yeah.
You can silence and you can get your fear onto the Snapfire. I think it's also a reliable way of like dealing with the Snap. Sure, you don't like the magic damage, but I think it goes both ways.
I would be utterly shocked if Mars doesn't come out here too, because I also feel like Gyro loves playing with the Mars.
Twop kind of is good here too. Like if they want to run Gyro as a carry, Twop is pretty decent into Lycan, pretty decent into Bane.
Same idea. You're like caging. You're basically anchoring the fight somewhere for all of this like ground targeted damage that they have.
It helps the Snap land a kiss.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of synergy here. As a support, very high valuable thing here. So like long, you're looking for a melee tank. But the downside of that is you're kind of stopping the guy from the flex.
Another reason I like Mars plus Snap is because it's a lane you know will be fine against any counter. Like it's very hard to come up with something that can outlane that, and NGX has the last pick out of the phase, so you know that they're going to get something like real juicy.
Oh, they go for the shaker right away.
It's a lot of team fights just between these two heroes, Snapfire plus Earthshaker. And I also love the fact that he can't invade enemy triangle. Eventually, Shaker's going to be getting his own farm. He's going to be getting those stacks. The first Echo Salami probably going to be used on the Ancients. And there's not much you can do about it.
This is an S tier magic community game. There is so much magic damage on Python, especially if they do end up picking a Mars. I can see
Lifesteal? You want
Lifestealer. I can see Lifestealer. I mean, it does mean that NGX will lack a little bit of team fight, but
There's still 2 more picks to come out from Python, right? They could change it a little bit here.
they could. It's just these 3 heroes have so much magic damage.
So what they're doing here is they are moving the Earthshaker to the flex pick. So Earthshaker can go mid and go off lane. So their whole job can still be moved around. And the Silencer, is also a very good answer to the bait. Whenever Grip if Silencer is alive. The only downside about the Silencer is Silencer, he doesn't do anything against the Lycan.
He hates the zoo, but there's always a counter strat. If you're just sitting in the fountain pressing R, the Lycan can't get you there.
It makes me wonder though, if you're kind of having this standoff between the Bane not really wanting to use ult until the Silence is down and Silencer holding it, which support is better at utilizing their other spells, often more to a fight.
Silencer, but he's also playing into Lycan, which could force him to
Slow him
potentially
down a bit.
use that global silence in a time where he doesn't really want to use it before he dies. So I think in this game it's going to be very important that he does hold potentially a buyback, because he can easily die in these type of engagements. And this is going to be Ghost heroes. He loves to play these late game carries. He's known to play, Troll. He's playing Lonewood, Morphling, something that can really scale in the late game. And this is the elimination series. He wants to roll this carry, pretty much, yeah.
I mean, they ban out the anti-data, expecting the Mars to also be
I
the
think
one
you have to.
for it.
You're playing against Medusa. You have to remove this hero.
What are the other good answers to Medusa? I mean, Tango is one that a blade. Slar.
Is anyone else defeat the blade naturally?
I honestly, I don't think Gyro's refusal is bad against this. I think this is really good.
But sometimes you can be a bait, though. You go diffuser and you're not the fight really can be bad for that hero.
I'm a big believer in this. I think Disperser is also really good against Medusa.
I mean, there's also another hero. Like, they want to keep on with the stocks here. The Medusa. You don't have to fight diffuser, but you can.
Yeah, that's a great call. I mean, getting the Lycan auras as well by getting a wall illusion of him also very strong. I mean, this would be so much wombo combo if they did Mars here.
I mean, I think there's too many heroes to get. They probably are going to be back to Mars. Like, activate is Mars back. And Mars is probably the support to get that. Something is going to be left.
Yep, it still looks like a good Mars. I mean, I don't think this is by any means.
They actually took too much left with that. I mean, could they actually pick the Mars themselves? Any way they can do
On the Lycan. I guess.
Is that still good though?
Probably not.
It might be
Not that
too
interesting.
complicated. far has been playing relatively explosive mid-heroes. We saw him play Nameless Prophet yesterday multiple times, which was kind of okay,
He
but
needs to be a moving hero, right? Okay.
Well, that is confusing. Let's
Clock mid?
Let's break this one. I mean, Clockwork mid
No,
with
the
the
No,
Muerta
Muerta mid. I
has
think it's
to-
Muerta.
yeah.
I think it's a Muerta mid.
She has
So
to be more likely a call.
I actually don't think Clock mid is bad. My argument for it is
I'm gonna need it. It's gonna be strong.
there are a lot of heroes to interrupt their cast points. Like
Shaker hates playing
Earthshaker
against
hates
Clockwork.
playing against Clock, and it looks like a Shaker mid here. And if you get a Blade Mail, look at all the ground targeted damage. Like, it would be a very good Blade Mail game if you can get it quickly.
I mean, this is a really good underdog game against
Okay, it's Sumail,
Medusa
right?
and Medusa and Lycan. Yeah, Sumail's playing
It's
the
still very interesting. I think in lane it should do very well against an Earthshaker, right?
Yeah, with the silence and everything else. But I also feel like because they are running Muerta mid, it means that Clockwork is going to be laning into silence. So this is one of Clock's favorite matchups in the lane. You can easily catch him out or force him to use global in a bad situation. I think it's just very annoying for Silencer to deal with a Clock in.
Clockwork needs to do a lot of this game because he is pretty much the only setup, him and Bane, but also Bane's going to be playing into Silencer, playing into this global presence, playing into Earthshaker, so I don't think he's going to be having an easy time landing his spells. And if you look at the Tricore of Nigma Galaxy, these are pretty static, no stuns type of heroes that they need a lot of time to get online. Lycan, he can join once he gets to his like 12-13 minutes Dominator / Overlord, but you also have Medusa who doesn't want to join until she gets 2 items, plus also Sumail and
It's
Muerta
very
mid.
slow.
She
It's a
needs
big
a setup.
greedy. It's a big greedy. It supports the heal kind of counter. You have to need to get out of the box after full silence to cancel it.
Yeah, but it depends on how you look at it as well. If the Clock also comes with the snap and the Silencer,
True.
cancel it.
That
Can go either way.
I do want to mention the Underlord thing. This is a great Crimson card. Pipe Medusa, like a counter to Medusa. No matter what build you go, magic or physical.
Until you get Nullifier. Nullifier is very
This is
And it also needs to get up. Free had the last year where we were carrying people. So like they want to go to this already.
it's very. I think against Medusa, you always want to use card. For magic build, if you use magic build, you need a pipe. Name a hero in Dota that wants to go Crimson pipe. It's not Darkseer. It's not Darkseer. No, they grab on the Dominator. Alright, Centaur would have been good as well.
Yeah.
It was banned, first phase.
So that's why we were looking Underlord. You guys, it's elimination. We've got to get some final thoughts for game number 1. A team. You can hear a lot of people cheer for both sides of Tidedown and Nigma Galaxy.
Tidebound. I'm going to go with Tidebound on this one.
I think I'm afraid of the audience, so I'm going to go Tidedown as well.
You're afraid of the audience. I love it. Let's see though what exactly our coach is not. That's wrong.
Thank you very much. I am joined by Kuroki of Enigma Galaxy, who is deciding to put on a show for us because Sumail Muerta mid. This is not a flex I've seen from you guys before. What's the reason?
Well, it's Sumail. He does whatever he wants, whenever he wants. So,
You leave him unchained and he's gonna do work. But you guys have been running experiments though. Even yesterday we saw the Nature's Prophet experiment. So this theory, Muerta being flexed at the last second, do you think it's gonna be able to trip up Tidebound?
we're very confident. We practice it quite a lot. And I believe in my guys' abilities. But at the end of the day, we're here to enjoy. We hope to inspire you guys.
The inspiration is here for sure, my man. But in addition to enjoying the games, we get to enjoy the games. I don't know how much you get to enjoy the games because these have to be incredibly stressful experiences. I was watching yesterday. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. What's it like as a coach witnessing your boys playing on stage? Barclays Arena, are you ready to have some fun as well? Then let's get the game started. Good luck, Kuroki.
All right, into game number 1 between Tidebound and NGX. Kuro very, very chill as always, Enderin. And we'll see if he's chill after this game number 1, because this should be a doozy. Tidebound and NGX find themselves very early in this lower bracket here at TI.
Yeah, if there's one thing you want to have as your coach when you're getting into these like high stakes games, it's definitely someone who can keep a calm.
That was quick.
head.
Omar first blooding Y. Good start for NGX. Go ahead, Cinder, and sorry to interrupt.
I think it's a very healthy sign for Enigma Galaxy that Kuro is as relaxed as he is, because we've had many teams throughout TI's history that talk about how you perform your best when the pressure is off.
Yeah.
I think at this point, for maybe NGX themselves even, you might have already exceeded expectations a little bit. You had an interview with... Oh, hang on.
He's in quite a bit of trouble. Omar's going to make his way over, but it's too late. Last right click is enough for Shiro to bring down Noob. Go ahead and continue your point.
Yes.
I don't see how many kills we get in the meantime.
Yeah, well, it's a good start, isn't it? We had an interview with GH in the Road to the International. He was talking about they enter with no expectations because they feel like they will perform better without the pressure. And in reality, this year has been very turbulent for this organization, right? It's been a mixed bag, and so have the previous ones. So I think they're just really enjoying themselves and feeling the moment, and that's kind of what Kuro was hinting at in the interview as well, right? We're out there, we're going to play our best and have fun and enjoy it. And a lot of teams have made crazy runs with that mentality.
Yeah.
This is obviously going to be a really tough opponent, but worth noting, Team Tidebound had a great start in the Road to the International, and then yesterday they really got humbled. So they're a little bit in the opposite situation, in spite of both teams having lost. I think Enigma Galaxy perhaps could have the better mental angle for today, possibly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, pressure is definitely a big thing. I mean, with NGX, you have a lot of experience on the shoulders of the likes of GH and Sumail, of course, but I mean, a lot of people did not pick them to get to the top 8 to begin with. Of course, there's a lot of hope for that to happen, and that is indeed the case, whereas Tidebound, there's always going to be lots of pressure. Even with 2 TI winners on the squad, I mean, China is very unforgiving with their own team, Cinderin, as we've seen in the past.
And I will say, talking about hope, the elephant in the room that I feel like we talk this to death, but you still have to think about this in Enigma Galaxy games because, you know, the stats don't lie, as a famous man once said. It's a lot of Enigma Galaxy's games, when they go late, become kind of crazy.
Yes.
And Team Tidebound and Extreme Gaming, the two big Chinese teams performing in this tournament, have been no strangers to playing very well late. Enigma Galaxy's Achilles heel.
Right on top of Bach. They were fighting for this Lotus, and that's the death of Faith Beyond. Planet now on the run as both Ghost and GH will pursue. It's going to be close with this last right click. GH doesn't have brain sap up for a while, so they won't get that second kill, but already off to a very good start. And of course, securing the Lotuses when you have a Medusa on your team, extremely important.
Yeah, it's arguably the best Lotus hero in the entire game. So even the early ones that aren't as powerful are just extremely powerful. And Medusa, it's way more EHP for her than other heroes. So a nice grab for them and a good start. This Bane Medusa lane, definitely one of the better lane matchups you can have against Underlord. In spite of him being the last pick, he's not picked as a counter to the lane. He's picked more in the broader sense on a macro level. But I don't see any reason why Ghost wouldn't just keep farming up a Storm here. And his carry matchup against Gyro is also good on the Dusa. The bigger question I have revolves around the team fighting capabilities of the two lineups, because what we've seen in this tournament a lot is that games go longer. On the main stage, they've actually, ironically, kind of been shorter on average than they were in the first stage. But if this game goes down the distance, how are Enigma Galaxy going to structure their team fights? They don't really have any key team fight abilities versus a lineup that has Global Silence, Echo Slam, Flak Cannon, everything Underlord brings to the table with auras. They're decked out for that playstyle, whereas Enigma Galaxy is a lot more skirmish heavy, but then you still have the Medusa. A little bit of a mixed bag, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. Also, like you mentioned, NGX bring a style of play that feels extremely chaotic, regardless of them having a lead, or as we're going to see, a Nightmare. Omar coming in as well. TP support is on the way. Dead shot back into the cogs. Nothing to say, in a lot of trouble. Planet White made their way over, but Nothing to say is already dead. It might be a trade for Omar, but this is a level 2 support. So definitely not favorable for Tidebound.
Really cool combination there. The cogs and Deadshot forcing the enemy hero into that cog knockback. It is, like the panel talked about, it's a tough matchup for Shaker. The Clockwork is a classic counter, and on top of that, you lane him against Muerta, who is a very untraditional mid-hero, but when played in melee matchups can truly bully the opponent. This constant harassment with Gunslinger, with death shots. Of course, no surprise here, Sumail going for the quick draw facet, which is the classic way of playing for Muerta.
GH, Nightmare, back into Omar. On that level 2 Clockwork, you can see how hard it is for the Underlord to cast anything. The battery assault is such a good counter for these long cast time heroes, and Ghost gets the kill on the Face Beyond.
Omar is everywhere so far on this clock. Also, part of the reason why he's so low level is he's not really taking any lane experience, but of course other heroes are going to be the beneficiaries of that. As long as your lanes can stand on their own, you're going to get a faster level 6 on the Lycan, for example, which could be really impactful. His matchup against the supports of the enemy team are very good. Silencer is terrible against Lycan. I would say Snapfire, one of the weaker ones as well.
And these are basically 2 solo lanes, top and bottom, with the supports just roaming constantly. Nothing to say. Gonna know that GH is in the area.
Koro asked his teammates, do you guys remember how you played in 2014? And they all say, no, we weren't born then.
Nothing to say. Gets off a fissure, blocks off GH. Omar's going to be fine, but it looks like, can he get the deny onto the creeps? GH attempts it, but nothing to say with the enchant token kill. I can see that there are a couple of stacks, nothing too major to work with though yet for Tidebound.
Oh, Omar's just in there. He's going to chase here. There's this 7-minute wisdom that he would love to try to steal. That was part of why this Bane kill was so good when he got it.
Bog is making his way from the north. Omar inside of the circular area, but Planet gets there too. So now Omar on the retreat. Good fissure from Nothing to Say, and this will be the death of Omar. Now his reign has finally come to an end. Already with the 1 kill and 2 assists in this game.
I honestly don't really mind that. He pulled 4 heroes over there. He's just putting pressure and making space for his teammates, knowing that he's so low level. It's not that big of a loss to make the enemy team run for you for that long. Helm of the Dominator now completed for Sumail. Can't say I've seen much mid-Muerta with Helm of the Dom, but...
yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Just like with every other hero.
They have one on Muerta, they have one on the Lycan. As for the Tidebound side, they're going for none of them, it looks like. So, a little bit uncharacteristic. We've seen Bach play a lot of helms on his offlane heroes.
Yeah. Have they used it on Underlord, though?
I don't know how much he's even played this hero this tournament, to be honest.
8-minute power rune is bottom. A damage rune as the dead shot does hit, so Planet will be brought down eventually, you would think.
The Troll's gonna get him.
Troll does get the last hit. More supports dying outright, though, so 2 for 1 across the map.
NTS managing to kill off Omar there with the Echo Slam. So, first use of that will not be on Ancients or a big camp stack. Speaking of, GH is in the neighborhood trying to get a read on just how much is in that triangle. Bane, he removes the sentry but doesn't block the camps. Still, the pressure is going to mount now. They're going to try to take advantage of Echo Slam being on cooldown, so now you can go in here and use these rally creeps to really get to work. And Sumail also with the amp damage rune. 9-minute mid-tower is a very good look, considering, remember they have Lycan and they have these 2 helms.
And the GH Nightmare. It's going to force Planet out, though, and they're just going to walk away, it seems.
This is without question a good start for Enigma Galaxy.
You got the dead shot you talked about, along with the Nightmare facet inside those cogs. Pretty crazy combo. And then with the calling from the outside, they have a lot of good fight potential on this NGX side. As why he finds himself, Sumail slows him, but GH is on the other side to finish the job. A 2K early lead for NGX, and in terms of how important it is for these teams to get off to a good start, in terms of like their lineup, how does that shape up this game?
I think it was more important for Enigma Galaxy to get off on the right foot here, because again, when we go down the stretch, I do think Tidebound's lineup just is a little bit more stable in later game team fights and overall more constructed scenarios, but Enigma Galaxy's lineup is really good at playing these 2 versus 1 games, or 2v2. You know, you run around the map with Bane, with Clock, with Light.
Shiro found by Omar, level 5 right now. TP support on the way. He's just getting bounced left, right, and center. Completely out of mana now. The Planet will be the recipient of the help of that homing missile, as as Omar again looks like he's going to drop, but he is again just forcing so many heroes to help aid their cores. That's 3 heroes this time brought.
Yeah, Ghost is having the freest time ever because of this. So you can see on the net worth distribution, the big loser in this game so far is Nothing to Say on the Shaker, which I have to say is starting to become a little bit of a pattern in these games.
It does feel like that, yeah. Shapeshift from Noob. Warner gets his coming out from planning. He's just going to get chopped down, though, by the Lycan as Shiro slows to a crawl. Now going to get chased by the Pine Cone and the Wolf. Pretty much out of mana right now. Why? Looks like he's going to dissuade Duke from going any further. Still quite worse for wear. Bach left to his own devices, though. Now inside the cogs with the battery assault. But with that TP, force the rest of NGX away. Nothing to Say comes in, trying to take out the Mind Cone. Looks like they'll be able to get that with the tower. But like you said, Ghost left all alone. He gets the tier 1 tower all by himself.
I mean, this is some stellar play from NGX, to be honest. Whether they find the kills or not, they are dictating absolutely everything that's happening in the game. And of course, we were criticizing this about Tidebound yesterday. Their support duos being a little bit more on the passive reactive side. In this case, the Snapfire can be aggressive, but is constantly being pulled around the map. And well, what are you going to do as level 5 Silencer except respond to these moves? So, Ingmar really just... I don't feel like Tidebound has made a move yet. It's been 12 minutes. I think all of their kills have been reactive. And if Enigma Galaxy can keep this pace up, they're on the way to a very chunky lead. They've only taken the top and mid tower. Bottom tower is usually the easier one to get, and they still can claim that. Of course, Ghost is just farming up a storm. And my question with this Shaker is, when are we going to see something big here?
Well, he just got his blink, so that might be the timing, but he gets Nightmare before it's delivered. Sumail there, Fiend's Grip applied. The silence is activated to prevent the cookie from coming out, so that was a pretty long Fiend's Grip. Has Nothing to Say, tries to run away. More reinforcements, though, arriving for Tidebound, and there's the blink reveal with the Echo Slam from Nothing to Say. Sumail is still living, though. Called down, not even going to clip him. He is getting a little bit low, but does find the distance, finds an illusion rune in addition. Some way, somehow, nobody dies other than the tomato, and tomatoes are real people, of course.
That is a very bad link reveal for Shaker. That is not what you're hoping for. Considering he got the full element of surprise there. Not only is it the blink reveal, but it's in the middle of a fight, right? Yeah. He got initiated on, got the reset, and then has the blink. It's very unexpected for Enigma Galaxy that that play comes out, and they still don't get a singular kill. It begs the question, did Bach not have his ulti ready at that point? This is obviously a hero that you want to connect to these moves with Teamscape, and then the team fights are bigger. Still stuck around down bottom, and now he might just get dove, potentially.
Rocket Flare reveals his position, puts down the Pit of Malice. Omar, well, he still has the hookshot available. I don't think they're going to need it. He's getting completely surrounded here. But again, DP support from Tidebound. This time Y shows up. There's the hookshot with the dead shot to follow. Bach still surviving, though. Super tanky, gets off the Firestorm, but now getting bounced left, right, and center. Sumail brings him down. That took a long time.
It did.
They got him.
And okay, that's a little bit worrisome for Tidebound that Bach can sit there and tank a gank for literally 30 seconds and they still feel like they can't help him. Goes to show that their lineup needs time. When the early game fails and you're lacking key ultimates, you still don't have global yet, minute 14. That's not ready. Shaker doesn't have Echo. So obviously Enigma Galaxy will try to take advantage.
This looks like a Wisdom Shrine play from NGX.
Yeah, they're getting both of them.
We'll see. There are TPs coming. Bach gonna be in the middle of a 20-second fight again. A beautiful cog. That means GH can steal it. Mortimer's Kisses is set up pretty nicely. Stone Gaze, though, comes out from Ghost. And the first to fall is Faith Beyond again. And now look at this, the Nightmare. Onto the Earthshaker. Looks like Shiro shows up, though. And that means NGX will likely want to run away. GH going to be the recipient of the call down. So it ends up being a 1-for-1. Global Silence finally coming out from Y. He dies shortly after, but this is the bigger kill. Ghost super low on HP, on mana in this case. Pops the Lotus though and staying alive as a result. You're already using the flat cannon. Noob in the area as well, but Nothing to Say. Kind of running out of steam. Sumail coming in from the south. Wants to continue the pressure, but have too many resources at his disposal. So looks like this might break things up.
That's still very much, once again, mission accomplished for Enigma Galaxy. You trade supports, but you get the wisdom. And again, Echo and Global.
Omar is still here. All right, how long have you been there, young man? Will eventually be brought down by Bach. Actually, Shiro in this case, but back-to-back deaths for Faith Beyond. That certainly will set him back. And he's 1-4 already in this game.
in spite of that, he's still almost 1,500 ahead of his mid-shaker.
Ouch. Yeah.
These mid-shakers have been very polarizing. It's interesting, it was theorized to be one of the biggest picks coming into the tournament, and it has been picked at Band a lot, make no mistake, but a lot of the games we've cast haven't been too impressive with this.
It feels like they just get up to such a poor start and never come back.
Yeah.
But of course, the stacks are supposed to be something that will assist them in that comeback story.
That might have been part of the meta development that has caused Shakers to suffer, is that teams have just become better at contesting that triangle and putting more emphasis on it. Because the Shaker games we've cast, we haven't really seen those like quad stack echoes into getting a fast blink at a full level. GH is in no man's land. Oh yeah. -1.
Easy kill for Tidebound. They're going to need a lot more of that. They're at a 6K deficit already at the 16-minute mark. NGX really showing up in this game 1 so far. Looks like Pipe is going to be the first main item for Bach. The Crimson Guard, as the panel is kind of discussing, no huge surprise. Or a bot.
Yep. That is going to be the key moment in this game for Tidebound, is can you find that stabilizing team fight when you hit a timing? Because in reality, they haven't hit a timing at all. But I think the only possible opportunity was the Shaker Blink, but as we've already established, that fell flat. Yeah. He's only level 9, and it's 17 on the mid-Shaker. It's the same as Clockwork right now on NCS, so very poor outlook here. Effectively, he's like position 3.5 from mid.
Planet runs into GH, instant nightmare. Nothing to say is in the area, though. And you can see the Fiend's Grip, or the Fiend's Gate, rather, from Bot coming to fruition. But now the TPs from NGX come as well. Echo Slam, this is all for a Bane, by the way. They're going to clean up the Earthshaker easily. So 1 for 1, mid for support. Of course, the mid is basically a support.
I was going to say, you could argue a support for support almost at this point, but yeah.
This is the roughest. I mean, we cast low as a BZM, having a really rough game. Yeah. This is worse, it feels like, right?
It's not a good recipe to win Pro Dota to play with 3 supports. That's not a common strategy.
4 protect 1. In the some ones, there's 4 supports and 1 carry, right?
Well.
Shiro's going to have to do some heavy lifting in this game. Going for the Butterfly next on top of his Manta and Dragon Lance.
That's the good news for Tidebound, is that Shiro is having a good start here. He's 4-0-1. He had a very rough series yesterday, so I think there's also something to be said about, you know, getting off to a good start on the day and feeling like everything isn't coming crashing down after a good start to the tournament. Because yesterday he had 2 tough games back-to-back. He kind of just got destroyed. Both in particular, I would say in his Marcy game, but also the Shadowfiend game wasn't too hot either.
Fiend's Grip, and we can see Snapfire left all alone, so easy kill for Sumail. NGX continuing to increase their lead. Y is spotted, again taken out in turn. So 2 support kills extremely quickly for NGX. Question is, are they actually going to go for Rogue? Ghost is extremely close to Butterfly as well. That is a huge power spike for Medusas. Even Pierce the Veil pop from Sumail to try to take out the Roche as quick as possible. They're not too afraid of any response coming out from Tidebound.
No, well, they're going to find GH, which is the smallest constellation prize possible. And Medusa all the way at their own base. Yeah, that's going to be a Roche. So Roche number 1 for NGX, looking really, really good here. You could potentially make a case for sieging high ground mid at 20 this game. I know that sounds unbelievable in this patch and what we've seen so far.
After the Tormentor, I'm sure.
But you have Manta, Butter, and Aegis mid at 19, which is an insane timing.
Yeah, this is going to be super hard to contest.
You could pick whatever objective you want outside of the enemy base and towards. I just don't see Tidebound standing a chance. So you can take every tower or Tormentor by grouping up. Then the question is, if you're grouping up 5 heroes, can Tidebound beat you on economy by just playing the map more efficiently while you group up? So you got to be careful not to be too slow moving as a unit. And for the time being, the Galaxy don't really seem to be pressing much of the map. They just want to keep farming, which is also okay. They don't have to use the Aegis immediately, but I do think it would be a mistake to just let it expire without forcing anything. It looks like Ghost is already approaching his first target. Top tier 2 tower.
Yep, likely go for the tier 2, and then, I mean, maybe you poke a bit, force a fortification, and then go for the Tormentor.
It's just no...
Plenty of time on this Aegis.
I mean, the more you look at this, the better this Medusa hero is in this game, right? The last pick of Tidebound, the Underlord, does no damage to her because Firestorm's percentage-based damage is irrelevant against Deuce's bad HP pool.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of questioning this choice. I understand you want the auras, but do the pros outweigh the cons of Deuce was the primary problem that Nigma presented in that second phase, and I feel like you did not solve it at all. You have no single target damage, you have no mana burn. Who's gonna stop Ghost when he gets his next item?
GH will get the shard. They don't even need to group up to take the Tormentor, so this is also a tier 2 for NGX. Yep. I mean, is there... This is more of a Thompson thing, I guess, from back in the day. Is there any consideration for Diffusal on Gyro?
I think he has to buy it eventually, because otherwise I just don't see them killing Dusa, but
not yet.
I mean, when you say eventually, how much time are they going to give you?
Exactly, yeah.
That's the question here. If Nigma Galaxy go high ground here and take a lane of barracks, I feel like we've gone into a time machine 2 months ago when people played the game normally.
I know, what happened? What happened in these 3 days off?
There we go. I love this. I really think this is a good siege. I think they can commit harder to it and bring Lycan walls and everything, but...
Yeah, they find a planet. Snack in the form of planet. Pierce the Veil to get that kill.
Planet with a rare sight here, 6 items in his stash. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Huh.
He has a full solar, he just hasn't picked up the power, except the energy boost.
He must have panic buyed right before he died then, huh?
I mean, he did AFK after getting nightmares, so he was just mashing his quick buy button.
It happens to the best of us, as Ghost. Gonna get some pressure applied to him. A call down his place. It's gonna be A-okay though, obviously still with 2 minutes on that Aegis. Yeah. But it looks like their strat is to go for all the tier 2s.
Yeah. I mean, 2 or 3 tier 2s and Tormentor for the first Aegis is, in the average game, a very good result. Also, a little poke damage on the top tier 3. He got about a quarter of that on his own on Ghost. And yeah, this mid tower, not long for this world. Shiro's trying to be annoying, but that's all he'll do. I really like this first pickup on Clockwork of buying Force Staff, by the way. We've seen different builds. Force Staff is just exceptionally good against Underlord. It's good against Snapfire and Shaker. The enemy team is creating debris for you to cross, and Clockwork with this can do it for a teammate. You might even see him buy the shard, potentially later for himself too, for even more ability to traverse terrain.
Well, this is quite the expedition for Y. He's certainly aware of Noob's general presence, puts down a couple nice wards. Only question is, will he be spotted at some point? We'll be able to TP out, so some good vision now. See if they're able to use that in the coming minutes. As, again, the lead just continues to grow. This is not one of those games where you get an Aegis and it kind of plateaus, which has felt like it's happened a couple, like maybe more games than we're used to seeing in the earlier games that we've cast, but this time around, NGX continuing to expand.
Yeah, they're going to finish this bot lane as well. I think even if the Aegis expires, they're still going to try to commit for this tower. Of course, the dream would be to not get into that situation. We've got 25 seconds. There is a glyph. Tidebound are thinking about it this time.
They sure are. It's a little bit more of a commitment as Shiro burn about half the mana from Ghost, even more now. Butterfly online for Shiro.
12 seconds. Keep an eye on the timer here. And yeah, Ghost will respect it, so they do defend. So 2.5 towers, a Tormentor, and a quarter of a tier 3 is what Ghost will get in this 5-minute period. Not too shabby. Almost has Scotty as well.
That's pretty good. Not too bad farming. You can see Tidebound.
Yep, they're going to try to do something.
Nice dead shot onto smoke targets. Nobody can see him.
This is one of those moments where you go, I was here, and they're making a move on Tidebound. We were here to witness Tidebound moving. As a unit in smoke.
Their creeps are killing all of the neutrals in the meantime, as finally Tidebound is revealed and they find absolutely nothing.
This is what I bought the postcard for. That was really uninteresting to write home about. All right, nothing to say is back to farming.
Yeah, doing his best. He'll have BKB relatively shortly, so just a recipe away at this point. That's still so far behind.
They're going to try again.
Through the gate.
So Bach is queuing up Aghanims now on the Underlord. We both love to see that. Of course, coolest when you got the glide
Oh,
here.
this was scanned out.
That's a very, very good read.
This might be 2 smokes in a row kind of waste, although Nuke, he popped his ult inside the pit of Malice, though. Reinforcements are going to arrive pretty shortly, but the global silence comes out and the Mortimer's kisses destroy him. But incoming Sumail with the BKB pierce the veil. First to fall is the Snapfire. You can see the Fiend's grip onto the gyrocopter. Do they have the damage? They have the lockdown. They have everything. This is not even remotely close. Now the Underlord inside of that nightmare, inside his own pit of Malice, just getting kited to a high degree. They lose the Lycan to start the fight, but they can 4 straight kills right after.
Nothing to say had no play there. He got caught by the clockwork and he echoed the clock and tried to cast Fissure 7 times in a row. And then he died.
Look at the battery assault.
Yeah, he kept trying. And I mean, you've got the Kaya, but you don't have Kaya Yasha, so that's not going to happen.
Man, what a last pick Clockwork, huh?
Yeah, it's
crazy.
The Clockwork pick has been really good, but again, I think this is the second game of Nothing to Say Shaker we've seen this tournament, where it just leaves a lot to be desired, right? And Nick McGalaxy didn't know exactly how to approach this. Keeping in mind, this could have been even better, right? They scanned them out, Noob knew they were coming, he pops ult. If he's a little bit further right here, he might not even get caught to begin with, and that could have just been a clean sweep. At the very least for Typhon, they get a little bit of a trade, but keep an eye on the Shaker here in the top left. So Nothing to Say comes through the gate immediately into the calling, gets hookshot up there. Now you're not going to see the rest on camera, but trust me when I say he did nothing, and his health is just falling by the minute.
I trust you.
I take it back. He did echo the clock. He did 200 hit.
Okay. Technically incorrect, but effectively correct. A 4 for 1. NGX, 16k lead. This is starting to look quite insurmountable. So what can Tybound do to get back in the game? Is it just a high ground defense type of deal? Do you have to contest second Roche?
There's a couple of things I think they could do still, or that they especially could have done better. But
shot.
Hang on.
They find Planet. Deadshot misses, but they have the damage nonetheless.
Doesn't matter, yeah. It's too much damage.
Fire onto Shiro. Good Manta, though.
They have to have better formation. I think the way Nothing to Say arrived into that fight is just a no-go. You cannot have Shaker arrive into the center of the fight. The gate has to be placed more on the left if you want him to come in through the gate. Otherwise, he needs to be there at the beginning of the fight off to the side to avoid the clockwork. Aside from that, obviously key items coming up. This Shaker BKB will potentially finally allow him to do something. Gyro Satanic will help as well. Shiro can be, as much as we've talked about Nick McGalaxy not having or Medusa being almost unkillable with single target damage, a Gyro Satanic is also tough to bring down for the NGX side. They don't have that overwhelming single target damage just yet. Sumail will get there. But right now, the hard hitter on one target is actually Lycan. As I say that, Dusa almost has MKB, so maybe not.
Yeah, we haven't even talked
Ghost is just ahead by a full item.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, I mean, Medusa is one of those carries. Feels like you can almost 1v5 in the late stages of the game. And that MKB relatively shortly coming online. Takes Ghost to the next level. Second Roche is available. Does NGX feel confident in going for it without a pickoff first? Because fighting against Tidebound in the pit is a bit of a scary proposition. And again, potential pickoff on the Planet. Hook shot to start things out, and now slow to a crawl with that Scotty from Ghost. Another easy pickoff for the NGX side.
I think that's enough to go Roche. Like, just having any hero out of play makes this extremely difficult for Tidebound side. And this is actually one of the more important Roshan pit fighting heroes, because Clockwork is going to have his eyes set on Shaker the whole time, so Snapfire is the one who actually gets to cast her ults reliably. With her in the grave, Tidebound just have to concede another objective.
And this one surely means a high ground.
This is a high ground Aegis, without question. 20k lead. Dusa almost fully decked out. He's gonna swap out his Falcon Blade for this Aegis, so technically for an Aegis push, he could replace the treads into another item. He's queuing up BKB here on Ghost. Thought maybe we would see something even more hard-hitting to try to finish the job, like Rapier or Daedalus.
A little surprising going that defensive, but
if he wants a defensive item, you could make a really good case for Pike here, I think.
GH gonna force out the Fiend's Gate. Nothing to say, blocks off GH, but a nice force step onto the other side. Hook shot from Omar. Looks like they're gonna find the silencer. Why is dead before he'll be able to get off global silence? Attempting to go through his own gate. Block. Not gonna happen. Pops
got Force Staff, Lens, Essence Ring, and you did global. So then the full theme script comes out onto the Underlord as well. Very easy and good response, and very quick responses too from the side of Enigma Galaxy.
They see nothing to say. The Wolves have spotted him. He's gonna pop the BKB and just get crit. My goodness! You talked about the BKB being picked up. That is not what he had in mind.
That's also not what he bought it for.
Ooh.
I don't think he bought BKB to counter the Lycan.
Well, he popped it anyway.
Yeah, that's what.
And now the Roche banner placed, and the high ground attempt is here for NGX. What can Tidebound do? Earthshaker down for 30 seconds. He has buyback and Echo Slam, but you might have to just concede an entire lane here.
This is so difficult for Shiro to contest the Dusa with all the backup sitting behind.
Yep, Crimson is popped, so that's gonna prevent some damage coming out from the Medusa. Eventually wear out, 10 seconds away from nothing as they getting back in the game. But still, Ghost literally all alone on the high ground, and they can't do anything against him. Shiro already at half HP. They have to force the fortification. Is there going to be a reset from NGX? Or they just continue? You can see the Alpha Wolf on the back line. Yeah, this is just a full lane. And now the BKB being delivered soon on the Medusa. Still 2.5 minutes on this Aegis. Your Titan, you just don't want to expend too many resources to take out life number 1 because then you have nothing for the fight afterwards.
I don't think there's any reason to not squeeze this and try to get a second lane.
Yeah, absolutely.
You still have about half mana on the Medusa. This is the perfect camp that just spawned as well. The 4 creeps with mana for the Mystic Snake. The Ghost is going to be almost back to full when you go and hit mid now. Oh, as you said, the BKB
for Omar. My goodness. Overclocking GH. Another target found, potentially.
Yep.
This is going to be a volley into a kill. So Planet just getting picked off repeatedly.
Ghost 11-0 has had a great start. He's capitalized on it. He's converted everything he needed to from that beginning of the game. And from a draft perspective, this was exactly what Enigma Galaxy dreamt of in this game, was to get off to a hot start and just run the entire map before Tidebound's heavy 5-man slower lineup could really come online. So far in 33 minutes, they've barely got to play their heroes. And that's been a rare sight in this tournament, that a team has been destroyed this hard, this early, and been unable to find at least some sort of rebuttal. There's just been nothing.
And this is going to be a tier 3, still a minute and a half on the Aegis, so Ghost and company will certainly push the envelope to try to get this second lane. Will Tidebound try to do something, or will this just be another free set of barracks? That's going to be the last fortification for quite a while on Tidebound's side, is the 27k lead for NGX.
There's still a full minute on this Aegis.
And once this Aegis is out, that BKB just takes its place. And this is a second lane for NGX. Uncontested as Tidebound. I mean, is there a power spike incoming? Looks like they're going to smoke up and try to surprise them. I doubt they want to go for the Medusa first. He's going to be spotted. Try to wrap around to their own triangle potentially. Sumail could be a good target. The smoke on the other side for NGX. Omar's gonna pop in. Overclock is played into the hook shot. The silencer stuck in place. Will be able to get off the global silence. No! The silencer dead right off the bat. And you can see Nothing to Say does kill off Omar, but now he's gonna get chased by Noob as Shiro full grip on the sideline. Block the right click damage from Noob as the GGs come out. NGX just absolutely stomped Tidebound in game 1.
Wow, that was not even remotely close. And we were talking about this at the beginning of the game. Who is going to bounce back best from their loss yesterday? Enigma Galaxy had the closer series, had more signs of life, and probably have lesser of an expectation overall, so probably playing with a bit more freedom and less pressure. In this game, Tidebound falling victim to some of the same problems as yesterday. Just inability to make moves, losing a little bit early and never really finding their footing. I think if you want to come back in this series as Tidebound, you've got to have more, you've got to have better laning, more opportunity to fight early. And the main thing I feel, the pattern that I have found is their support duo. In these 3 games that we've had on the main stage for them, maybe it's just a little bit too little in the damage department early on.
Yeah, I feel like Omar completely carried that early game. But either way, we go to the panel as NGX up 1-0 in this best of 3.
Yeah, an elimination is best of 3. One game up is definitely where you want to be able to can sign a little bit of relief here, but I like what Tim said. It feels like Enigma Galaxy aren't really feeling the same sort of pressure. They're coming into this, and it definitely enjoyment in that game one.
Yeah, we thought maybe he was hiding scraps. He was very that's my saying.
Yeah,
just
because that's actual scraps.
He was being serious. Like Sumail just wants what he wants. He's gonna trust him and give it to him. He's gonna try to play what he wants no matter what. And the mid Muerta was incredibly good in this game. There's this really cool combo between the Clockwork and Muerta where you knock back into the cogs, just bouncing around. You have the Dominator on Muerta. He was doing the knockback into like Centaur Stomp combo. There was a lot of really cool technique in this game, and I think the only reason they can do it is because they're playing loose.
Yeah, and also the fact that I really like Cinderin mentioned the support though, which I feel like played a huge role here because in the early game, the Earthshaker kind of got bullied by the Muerta, but then after he got bullied, he didn't really have strong enough support to kind of help him fight around the mid lane, protect his stacks, get runes. Because if you think about it, Silencer and Snapfire, when they run into block and base, they are not going to be able to fight them. They're just weaker heroes in general, or lower damage, you know. So they lost a lot of the early control in the first 10 minutes because their support hero is just way weaker than what they expect. And that's why I kept suggesting that Clockwork could have been good for them during the 16-17 when they had the jungle. I think it would work for them because it also could do what the Silencer do, which is to counter the bait.
They picked the overall thing out of from NGX and he did so much. Earthshaker never had the chance to play the game. It's so annoying. Dota that Shaker can't really use. He had his number throughout the whole game. But I also gotta give credit to GH. His positioning on this main has been amazing. He got like 4 or 5 full duration rift in multiple fights. It's pretty insane to think about. You're playing against Silencer. Yeah, that's playing against Snapfire. Multiple moves that can fit the top of the rift. Like there's a reason why he is right now is the top 10
I will be honest and say that like I've personally tried Bane, seeing the pros playing it. I just didn't fully understand it until like watching this game and why the win rate is so high. But to me, it's just like these good Banes like GH will walk around and just be positioned somewhere and one. They're not necessarily looking for a kill, but he was scouting the stats. He was walking in and using Nightmare and then walking somebody out of the tower. There wasn't even hero there to help him. It was just like, I'm gonna poke you, so you choose to react. And if you don't, then potentially you're gonna get killed. So there's just like what's happening constantly on the map. This impression is constantly on the map by being in annoying places.
Just a mix the reposition. The whole game is going to do that. Go up, steal someone, and people could tell whether they
yeah, the threat is bigger now.
Yeah, when you're moving them, it's hard to know whether you should send anybody within the guys. It's hard to decide on the moment.
Yeah. The support is doing a lot on the side of Liquid Galaxy, and that was an argument that you guys were having. It's like, yes, we see so much coming out of Tidebound when it comes to the team fight. It feels like their item progression is just very straightforward, but yeah, the clock was just such a big undoing for the main as well there, and it's very easy then to look at the cores and be like, well, you had a mid lane and a carry that went deathless. So there's also praises to be sung there, but you're not having as good of a game if you're not having that impact on the support.
Yeah, I mean it's the trifecta, the mid hero and the 2 supports. So every time when you talk about just the 2 supports, you also need to talk about what mid hero you're pairing with the supports, right? So you kind of need to enable each other. You need more of like a range support, or you need about a more melee support, for example, or even the duo right here, you know, with the Snap and Silencer, they kind of feel like they don't really complement each other. You know, they feel like they're overlapping in close in some way where they stand behind and they cast their spells, and they don't really contribute other things, you know, in the game.
We're looking at the earlier part of this one, Leclerc, because everyone talks about it. How do you pair a mid hero with this? Sumail on the mid. Whilst we look at the stats at the end of the game, you're like, yeah, he had a great game. But everything for him was fantastic.
It definitely was, but this is a fight where he comes in with amplified damage, Helm of the Dominator. I think this item makes any mid hero viable. Like we saw Spectre being viable, we saw Faceless Void becoming more popular, but it does allow him to play his own type of a game. I was a little worried that he's not going to be, if you're pretty much building into the standard stuff coming out from mid Muerta, if you're going for, you know, Mjolnir, you're pretty much becoming another Medusa, but he found a way to be able to be more active, pick up that Dominator and then go for the Witchblade as well, having a bit of a mixed damage as well, but be very annoying on the map. This is also a fight where NGX, there's 4k gold ahead. They're trying to initiate on an Earthshaker, and his Blink Dagger is being delivered pretty much on the courier, and he's going to get delivered straight away, even though he did have a little bit of a survivability there. He gets the blink. It seems like they're going to be able to grab the kill. Shiro joins, but they don't even pick that one up. Get that first, second Echo Slam. If you're not using it on Ancients, you want to be getting that kill. And we saw multiple times around that when they go with the Earthshaker or when he gets initiated off the spot, basically hard to fight 4v5.
I think anytime a game like this is snowballing so hard, it's almost always like down to the supports. It's like, how are those first like rune rotations going when these heroes are actually connected together? And I would definitely agree that when I look at the trios for Tidebound, I'm like, who are the three heroes that just play? Underlord as supports, Earthshaker as supports. This game is kind of rough. Like we saw the Integra play, but the moment that doesn't connect, like this is the moment. Sumail just walking out of that is like the most devastating thing possible.
It felt like they were trying to give that kill to Gold 4. It's like, okay, maybe that's what they back into it, but then you're questioning how much does the Earthshaker take? Are we actually going to let this Molecular walk away? Yeah, unfortunately, when things start to fall apart, but there's still plenty more to fight. You can try and find something for yourself. There's no part of this game for about 28 minutes. That was when we saw another one where it's like, okay, can we see time that really step up?
And this is also going to be another fight where but first the fight starts, they're going to be killing off Wolf immediately, so Rook is gone. This is basically a 4v5 fight. You have two auras on the bot. He feels like they're super strong, but look at that Drift. Immediately burning his mana, and then Sumail comes in. Rest of the team is also playing on a different side. You can see the Clockwork being super annoying, going up to the Earthshaker, not allowing him to play the game. And then bot side, King die. At the start, it looked like an okay fight in Tidebound, but in the end, they figure out how the fight played out. It's not working.
I mean, this fight is like a perfect leverage. I think they have trees of what you can use on the support, right? So they couldn't really output damage, and once the grip went up on the gyro, they had to do
The really small thing about that play as well that I think was so great for the complexity is you see Noob die immediately, and that's what you're talking about the numbers. But he places his creep, right? His held up creep at a point where when the smoke breaks, everyone else around him in his team is in a position to take the fight better. I think that's what's so amazing is yes, he sacrifices his life, yes, he's a core, but the vision and everything else set up for that this Nightreign. Set up for one to be recognized.
And the creep still has impact that this is why the item is so strong. It's essentially like another hero. Helps the Clockwork zone the Earthshaker. I think the only way you turn a fight like that is a big Echo Slam. Like that's the whole point of this hero. This is how you get back in the game. So identifying that and punishing that is another thing where we can say like Omar played this game extremely well. Not only did he carry your team, he carried the team, but what we didn't see play well is that big Echo to come back.
Okay, we keep talking about the Earthshaker. We've said how wrong this game was, but Purge himself is going to break it down a little bit more as to why he needs it.
Thank you. Yeah, that was the most difficult part of the game, in my opinion, for Enigma Galaxy going forward. And it all started with their draft, basically. They picked supports that were going to win the side lanes, and then in the last pick, they shifted them where they're from an expected +4 into a mid lane against the Earthshaker. If you've been watching this clip, he has been right-clicking the crap out of Nothing to Say. Nothing to Say has done a great job getting last hits. Frankly, throughout the laning stage, the first like 5 or 6 minutes, he does a great job getting last hits. He denies his ult, but the constant pressure from Sumail that comes is causing him to spend more money on regen and make different decisions that he normally wouldn't want to make. So this pressure from Sumail's not spending money on resources. He does not buy a bottle. Nothing to Say does purchase a bottle for himself because he just needs it every time he's going for last hits. And Sumail's abilities off cooldown, he's going to hit that to get some nice harass in with right clicks. Even watch this range creep here. It's one that he's going to. Nothing to Say he's going to want to go for a denier if he can manage it. But if he approaches at all, he has to worry about this nuke into multiple right click every single time that he ends up approaching. So this shifts at the 2-minute mark. That's the first water room coming. Sumail even gets to get his own water room. Again, he hasn't bought any resources other than a single set of tangos. And Nothing to Say on the other side doesn't get to refill his bottle a single time. The supports won their lanes, and then the Bane's going to rotate towards the bot rune. Towards the top rune, and the Clock can also do the same on the bottom rune. So Nothing to Say just doesn't even get access to refilling his bottle, which is getting him farther and farther behind with regen. And this obviously cascades even farther. Here's the 4-minute mark, same thing, Clockwork, Bane, moving to the water runes. They end up collapsing and getting a kill on Nothing to Say a little bit later. Kind of interestingly, they actually sent the Wolves all the way across the map to also participate in this. That's after Nothing to Say comes back. And the tough thing is that if you look at the map, this Sentry Ward here blocked the Ancient Camp. That Sentry Ward died of old age, and normally when you're playing in mid Earthshaker, what you're anticipating getting out of the map is a laning stage into an Echo Slam on the Ancient Phase. That just didn't happen this game, so he had a rough lane, got harassed constantly. Sumail with the greediest possible item, which was going to be Helm the Dominator. He took the Earthshaker's mid tower at 9 minutes, which basically means that Nothing to Say Now has even less space on the map to get things done. He doesn't have an Echo Slam combo to get himself gold, and then to make things worse, his first couple games don't go so well. So that was why he got so far behind. Less levels, less gold, less everything, and Enigma Galaxy got exactly what they wanted.
A fantastic breakdown from Purge, really eye-opening about why that Blink Dagger reveal was actually so important, why we should have seen it a little bit more fun getting that.
I'm sorry, I just need to mention, every time we go to Purge, it's like the weatherman, it's like devastating hurricane in Florida. It's always like, here's how this devastating thing happened. Like, so I didn't notice the ages being blocked. Like,
they learned the lesson. Yesterday, they were the game number 1, they tried to play Shaker Triangle, and they had one stop around. Took it slowly, just put a send down the left approach, and they also did manage to shut him down completely. That middle lane from his tower resulted in I was checking the numbers. 7,000.
Yeah, devastating news. I don't know if that's the time that we wanted to drop it as our team are walking back out on stage. Tidebound hopefully going to be able to find some energy, find some new scratch for themselves. They the Galaxy, well, they're getting a lot of cheers all the way from the fans as well here. And I have this question mark about this first thing coming into the tournament. Everyone had their eyes on it. It felt like a great team in the playoffs. But now that we're on stage, it's on and as you said, all things about blocking ancients, all things about the league in mid matchups just aren't going the way of this hero having a good setup of leads.
I think NGX is just smart. They found a counter. Like, I legitimately think if Earthshaker comes out again, they're going to pick where to mid. To me, this looked like a counter. Like, all of these little plays.
I thought you were going to say if someone's going to be picking Earthshaker, they're going to be manning out the clock.
Yeah, that was also.
He was definitely going to say that, yeah.
They banned Queen of Pain, which has looked good against Earthshaker, and I think heroes fall out of favor whenever they're really overpowered, when there are like 2 to 3 really good solutions. But then there's always going to be one where you can't ban them all, and this is when a hero falls out of meta. So maybe the stock in Earthshaker should just go down, or we should start seeing it be flex more for the other roles, like we keep talking about, but it seems like it never happens.
I mean, it's the lane, right? I think they exposed how vulnerable Earthshaker is in the lane. Maybe teams overrating the hero a little bit. He's still strong, but you don't want to open the draft with Earthshaker quickly because he can run into lanes where he can't really play.
Ranged heroes definitely destroy him in lane.
Yeah,
like
ranged heroes and probably blocking the camp. Those are the 2 things.
Those are the 2 things. Yeah.
You have to look out for, and obviously also the supports. You need to have the right supports to enable you to be able to do that.
But if you're an offlaner, there's a lot less stock in like committing to shutting the hero down, like in blocking the camp, because then you can stack the other camps on the side of the map, right? Like there are other options, and there's like less value in like, okay, we need to get this Blink Dagger super early because this is our mid hero. We need to play around it. So maybe a flex should come into play.
Yeah, it's also maybe not relying on just your mid player being the playmaker. That's something that's normally very like cohesive with, okay, a mid laner is going to be our playmaker. They're the one that's going to run around with the support. Maybe you're still fine if your mid laner has a rough game if there is a backup in an off laner.
Yeah, definitely the case. Like, I think Underlord is just a weird hero to play around. Like, a lot of the time that it's not in the meta, this is the thing that we point to for why not, is that you need a lot of levels before you can start really being active. Like, it's more like you're active with other heroes, and then he ults in and gives Auras.
These teams aren't wasting any time, by the way. They're back in their booths, and they are back into draft for game number 2.
Team Tidebound versus Nigma Galaxy. Game 2.
Top 8, that would be the placement Tidebound get for themselves if they aren't able to bring something out of the bag for game number 2. Elimination is on the line. Enigma Galaxy, they kind of just want to repeat what's been happening, hoping for themselves that it's going to go the same way, and at least for draft's sake, it's going to start out in a very similar fashion. They're having first pick here.
It leaves Invoker in the pool again. They had to switch things up, removing this Lycan, which did cause a lot of issues for them. But Enigma Galaxy, they don't want to mess around. Muerta, now they've shown that they can play this from 2 different roles, and I'm also pretty sure that Ghost can play it. She has to have that third option if necessary, because Muerta with the other facet does allow you to play from the carry role, and she seems relatively good, I would say. But what Sumail has shown in the previous game is that he can pretty much play anything. Kuro talked in an interview, it's Sumail. He's going to be playing whatever he wants, and the King is back. I'm not just talking about the Sand King, but also Sumail. He's having some top-notch performances.
Yeah, this is going to become, I think, a very high value pick here, going maybe deeper in the tournament. This is Muerta hero. If you can actually play her mid with the Helm build, I think this hero just gives you so much value in the drop. You open the drop with the hero, it doesn't reveal too much, and you can swap her to a support.
Yeah. I mean, very recently it was like considered an S tier support, and I remember we always questioned, like, why is it falling off? You know, the Ags
they
build.
They nerf the Ags. I think that's probably the main reason. You don't have the double and the talents, right? You don't have the
low
double.
20 and 25.
Yeah, 20 to 25.
It still felt like something that could come out, especially for like the specialty players. So I'm glad to see that it is coming out. But when you have heroes in the first phase, like they almost always have to be flexed.
Yeah, I mean the Sand King is like an appropriate response to that. Kind of like also a mid hero slash offlane hero, flex hero, so you can decide it somewhere down the road. I think this is a pretty nice response, so you don't really, once again, show too much, and you're gonna have to really be thinking about your support role, right? So the Bane is going to be the one that is the first one being snatched up by Team Tidebound.
So Tidebound is not going to have the same issue as last game, where they don't have like a leader and on point to be in that trio, because Sand King doesn't need items. He doesn't need a Blue Dagger. He can run with him if he has a lot of damage, the Epicenter, the Sandstorm. Like, obviously, he does want to at some point. He would love to farm those Ancients, but you can still play around him early. It's not going to be just like an Underlord or Shaker midway like scenario.
And he also is like kind of, I think, stronger in the lane to play against range heroes, because you kind of just farm, push out the wave, and you don't really get right click so much like what we saw with the Earthshaker against the breakup.
Yeah, your battle is not with the mid laner, it's with the Sentry wards that they're putting down.
Yeah. I mean, Clockwork was a real menace in the previous game, but didn't mention that he needs to pop off in the previous game because they didn't have that many setups. And now the same thing. Vayne doesn't like to play into Clockwork. You're playing into Muerta as well. Phoenix, there's no real attack speed coming out of this now. I think they could potentially pick up that Snapfire that is still available. You have an Egg Hitter, you have something against the Clockwork, but magical damage against Muerta works really well, pairing up with the same. I think this time around Tidebound did a very good job trying to address some of the issues, especially against this Muerta. Phoenix as well, you have the burst damage, like you can initiate on the hero and try to kill.
I think that's an S tier. That would give them a very strong trio at running around and doing stuff here.
Yeah.
So you have Vayne to set up and you Snapfire with the damage.
I probably want to show like one support plus the carry and keep the same flexible if they can. Well, they go for the grip stroke.
Cool. They're going for something else.
Double grip.
Yeah, double grip, double burrow is incredible because then you burrow, both targets and then burrow under. Anyway, the Grimstroke, you're getting like extra damage because burrow hits multiple targets. Like AoE, but it works with it. But I love Grimstroke against Muerta because you get the innate where you can hit Imperial targets, but then you get a unit that's also magic. So the illusion you get is legitimately gone. You cannot deal with this illusion.
Yeah, Phoenix also hates the silence, the ghost,
Yeah, true.
You can't really deal with it. And they have a pretty nice Inkstall target with the Sand King. I think every time you see a Grimstroke being hit, immediately you think, oh, does their lineup work well with the Grimstroke? And right now they have the double grip and the Inkstall target on the Sand King. Dying, okay.
That's a mid Sand King and the core Undying.
Offlane Undying.
They want to get a fight. They want to get those auras instantly, and Enigma Galaxy immediately taking out Medusa. The damage that they do have is really that great. Plus, you also have ways of dealing with Undying. Tombstone, Medusa, Gyrocopter, these type of units are always going to be
But
good.
at the same time, Grimstroke Axe, against Medusa.
This is another great illusion target. And I will say the same thing that I said last game, which is Team Tidebound, they seem to think that they need a Crimson Pipefire versus Medusa. And Undying is an excellent Crimson Pipefire, especially the Crimson, because all the strength that you're stealing is giving you more protection against these small instances of damage that Dusa is doing, but it doesn't seem like NGX cares.
I'll go with the crowd. I'm gonna say crowd wants to see Ogre, and that's gonna be the last pick. It's all that clapping, right?
I like how Lacoste can make anything work for his imagination here. What is your...
Okay. Wait, which team is picking Ogre?
He doesn't care. Any of them.
I mean, if we can have Morta mid, if we can have these punch carries, why not Ogre?
If it comes out, you need to go down there and start driving.
I will.
Let me ask you, do you buy helm on Ogre or Midas on Ogre?
Minus 100% of the time.
There you go.
100% of the time. Let's see what exactly is going to be banned out. Last time that they did the Medusa, they banned it again. And it was just the dark skin. They felt like that was what they were looking for. But the offlane is already been shown undying. So if that's the way your ban was made.
Maybe Tidebound could pick Morphling because I think it's really good against Medusa.
I thought you were going to say
and then
the
also
crowd
because
was
the
doing
crowd is
waves.
Yeah, come on, dude. I was setting up the punchline. Come on. Yeah, it was a wave type thing. Then I thought Shiro actually plays Morphling. It's not genuinely not that bad. Turning into Medusa is very powerful.
Now full of jokesters on this panel. Having too much fun. They're thinking a lot about this. It went straight from this clockwork. They knew exactly that they wanted the Medusa out of this into the AM ban, but now is where it's stalling out a little bit, Winter.
I mean, there's definitely still a lot of other decent options. I think Terrorblade is kind of okay too, you know, you can kind of hit the egg and you can make Medusa copies of your own. You're kind of like a Darkseid in a way. So I think there's still options here.
Oh, Jug would have been good.
Okay.
Diffusal builder against Medusa. I also think people generally enjoy that matchup. Like in the Omni Slash, you can do enough damage to
I mean, you also spin and kill the egg, so
yeah,
like two reasons. Yeah. I mean, the mask can also really round up the whole lineup here. Protection for the egg, and also maybe stop certain heroes like TB, you know, dissuade those heroes. Or you're gonna go for the faces white heroes. So the other lineup is gonna be very, very slow and people very important.
That is a classic Medusa component though. I remember BB Team was the first team to show this, where you simply kill everyone else and Medusa does such small instances of damage that Void will...
Yeah, but what if the egg is the carry right now? Because you can't kill the egg. You have 3 melee cores and your supports are probably
Supports are pretty bad at it. So it
This is
needs
true.
to be Faces Wood who needs to actually hit the edge.
Completely map the style from him. This is going to be necessary. Attack speed items.
Yeah.
So the impact of the Phoenix is still going to stay there. You know, it's rising in popularity a little bit, but we mostly see it played in
I mean, it's
core
also
offlane.
Phoenix plus Medusa, right? The gaze and the egg, so you're not hitting the egg. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, tough to disengage there. So now the question is, you guys have favored a team normally when it comes to a team fight, when you see the lanes play out. But can you see that when it comes to these two drafts and these two teams?
In the trifecta again, right? You're gonna be looking at the trifecta. So it's gonna be Moita, Phoenix, Clock. I think that's probably more all-rounded compared to the Sand King, Bane, and Grim. I think Grim is the weakest hero here when it comes to the rune fighting. So I think I'm gonna give the trifecta advantage to Enigma Galaxy. They're probably gonna be able to get slightly ahead in terms of the runes, and they're gonna be able to use it to snowball again, like what happened in the first game with the Moita.
I think Tide Bounce is way better than last game.
It is.
Like, we're going to see an actual competitive game here rather than just the stop.
Yeah, it's not like last game, but I still think that the Grim is going to the weakest hero.
Yeah, he's playing into Mars, which he doesn't like to play clock as well. I think these two supports from Tidebound could suffer a lot if they're getting initiated on. Sure, there is some counterplay to it with the same stun, with the Undying use of the Tombstone, popping the Aura's Chronosphere from the Faceless Void, but overall, if Enigma Galaxy is being the one who's super aggressive, they're initiating the fights, I can feel these supports having a really rough time.
And yourself, Jenkins?
Yeah, I agree. I would say I think NGX got something very similar to what they got in the first game, perhaps even easier because they're dealing with a Tidebound that has an actual good duo initiators.
Yeah, Tidebound powering up, having even drafted themselves in a game number 2. Let's hear from their coach exactly his thoughts on it.
Thank you very much. I am standing by with the blanket coach of Tidebound with Helen helping to translate, where we are seeing something interesting 2 times in a row. Sumail Muerta mid. Now, I haven't seen this before, but I was wondering, how prepared were you for them to do it 2 times in a row now?
Well,
们连续2把都看到了苏缪的中单重音碧零奶绿，我们是没有见过，你有见过吗？而且有没有做好准备呢？
之前有耳闻吧，也在TNT上看到他玩过。就第一把可能是我们没有处理好他这个中单奶绿，但是这把我们想了办法，好吧？我觉得他打不出上把的节奏。
So we have seen him play the hero before. In game 1, we didn't properly deal with it. However, we'll find a solution and not let him have his tempo.
Well, let's see if the solution works out. And I know behind me, are there a lot of Tidebound fans on this side? It sure sounds like it, so Blink, I was wondering, do you have any message for all the people on this side of the crowd that want to hear you really get them going?
我们身后有那么多太棒的粉丝，有没有任何想跟他们说的话呢？
谢谢大家的支持，相信我们中国队的大河，好吧
Thank you everyone for your support. Please believe in China's ultra carries.
The ultra carries are on the field. Now let's see it in the game as we get into game number 2.
Yeah, I'd say Faceless Void is an ultra carry for sure.
It's the bill.
Indeed, it feels like it comes back every single TI one way or another. The question is, will it be effective for Tidebound? As already we're getting action planted inside of the cogs, and it's first blood for GH. Feels like we've seen this before.
Yep.
3 of the same 5 heroes from last game for NGX.
There are some pretty meaningful adjustments being made here, though, that do give me more faith in Tidebound to have a better showing than game number 1. The panel was talking about it. I think this time around, possibly the support pairings they have will lead to better laning. And in comparison to the Shaker mid that you and I have had some trouble seeing the impact of, mid Sand King has looked very strong and consistent in this tournament, and also doesn't lose its lanes very hard. When you have bad matchups, you just pull waves, you farm with Sandstorm, you semi-jungle. So if that is indeed the case against Muerta, again, playing that melee matchup into that, this time around, I just don't see Nothing to Say suffering as much. He's also better at getting rotated by Clockwork. You can actually stun your way out of cogs. There's a lot of upsides compared to game 1. But that said, Tidebound, again, have a relatively slow lineup. So can Enigma Galaxy play the same pace as last time, then we could see the same outcome.
Well, they don't have a Lycan this time, so gonna be less action in that regard for sure. Okay, I'm gonna bring up a storyline. We'll see if it comes to be Cinderin, but it is gonna be mega hype if it does. So you remember we cast, it was Tidebound versus Extreme. Bach was playing Centaur with the cart, of course, which we're gonna bring up the singular time in this cast, I promise. And on the other side, XXS was playing the Undying with the Tombstone. It was save versus save. Undying prevailed. This time, it's Bach playing Undying with the grab ally versus GH Supernova save. Which one is stronger?
Yeah, good question. We saw GH having massive impact yesterday. Even though they lost the series, his Phoenix against BB team was no joke.
It seemed almost uncounterable at that stage of the game. It feels like you just literally can't kill Egg anymore. And the range that he had was insane. Like, you can't do much about it other than try to jump him and just deal with him outright.
I guess the one upside here is the only... They have technically 2 BKB piercing abilities on the side of Enigma Galaxy against Void, which is Hookshot for a little stun and the Stone Gaze. But potentially Void can kill the Egg. The panel is talking about how he almost has to do it on his own. Oh, nice find there. Planet will get him.
Indeed.
Blood Grenade.
Looks like Tidebound is now on the board for game 2. And in terms of the Chronosphere damage this time around, we've talked about that being kind of a lacking thing in some of these lineups. You have Epicenter and what else?
Epicenter, Inkswell, Stroke of Fate. It's not bad.
Does Tombstone the zombies continue to spawn, I assume?
They spawn, but they don't attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's mainly the Sand King, obviously, but Grimstroke can be a bit of an X factor in those Chronos. It also allows Void to make plays that he usually can't. Giving him that Inkswell can be very powerful.
And how's Dark Portrait this game, if the Ags ends up coming to be for Planet?
I mean, it's really good against Medusa, so that's the only hero it's good against. It's pretty bad against Muerta. So you're not necessarily looking for like a Soulbind Dark Portrait, but just a single target on the Medusa could be a really strong ability. If you consider how teams are banning Darkseid when they're running Medusa, this is a more, in some ways, more reliable counter. It's just you have to get there.
Yeah.
The Dark Portrait is very, very strong.
Nightmare forces as Courier survives. Omar already with less action here at the 4-minute mark. I feel like he was involved in 3 or 4 kills at this point last game. So Tidebound has certainly made some adjustments.
In similar fashion, though, the laning stage is still going well for Enigma Galaxy. It's not through kills, now it's just through the raw laning, but they are once again off to a head start. Shiro on the Faceless Void is struggling, 11 and 4 against Noob, 22 and 10 on Mars. This is, of course, a lane that you would argue favors Mars Clock, but probably not by this much. So I think a little bit of just raw outplay here as well from the side of Enigma Galaxy in their off lane. And that's probably the lane of theirs in this tournament that has leveled up the most. Noob was receiving some criticism earlier on for falling flat in some lanes in some games. I think on the big stage, he has been playing his best. And Omar as well.
Sure.
Oh, that is not unexpected.
Soloed by Sumail. That is a huge deal. Nobody even came to assist.
Yeah, I was not even looking for this. This is kind of crazy. Same thing like we talked about. Generally draws even bad matchups. He's just getting stomped. Sumail 34 and 15. Sanking only 21 and 1. It makes me wonder if this is a little bit of inexperience on Nothing to Say's part. I can't help but feel that a player like Nightreign will just get more out of this lane at Sanking. Right. He's just playing. Sometimes the best way to play the lane is just not play it in the middle. Just pull the waves around and find a different way of navigating. Perhaps he's getting countered out by the threat of Clockwork intercepting him when he tries to go for it. But either way, the result is the same. Sumail with a 1,000 gold lead in mid at 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's looking a lot like last game without the ganking needed.
Yeah.
I guess Omar find why. Still hasn't leveled battery. Still holding on to those levels. Has 2 in cogs right now. As the 6-minute rune is coming. GH and Sumail. Looks like NGX actually in a good position to get whatever it is. It will be a regen, so Sumail will be pretty happy with that. Close to his helm as well.
Hero's down to like 20% mana. Just gonna get it nice and filled up here so he can keep that pressure up.
Good dive from GH. It's Nothing to Say. We'll be using the Sandstorm and Inkswell to clean up this stack. GH will be taking a bit of that XP though, but of course the gold a little bit more important. We're only 30 seconds away from this Wisdom Shrine play as well. It feels like so consistently in this tournament, at the first Wisdom Shrine, it feels like we have several supports at like level 3, sometimes level 2 even. It feels
yeah.
Just all this roaming, I suppose, just hurting their levels overall.
That is really important for both teams to try to get one here. Bach under some pressure. He's actually getting cooked. Gets the double decay though, but I don't know if this is going to be enough.
Sunray pretty strong. Dive to follow. Mystic Snake as well. He gets up another Soul Rip and will walk away. Looks like both Wisdom Shrines will be traded.
Yeah.
He's going for the Helm of Dom on the Undying.
Standard.
Let's get a shout out to Helm of the Dom, everybody. All right, mixed reaction.
There's one guy very loudly booing. I love that.
It's really not that bad, I feel like.
Can we get a boo for Suns fans taste an item? Oh,
hey, my favorite item is Aghanim Scepter, so you're just fooling yourselves here, all right? Shiro. I mean, at what point can Faceless Voids join the fight these days? Do you, like, obviously old days would be stacked.
Right.
But this time around, it feels like you do need to get into the action a little bit earlier. Speaking of which, Nightmare onto Noob. Level 6 has the arena. Use the Spear. Shiro does have Chrono if they need it, but this is a 1 versus 3. So Noob will be brought down. Will be Hawaii on Bane.
It's a 3v1. You at least don't have to use Chrono there for the Faceless Void. The hero is able to join earlier. Obviously, the Helm of the Dominator build really helps with that, working in the Chronosphere and doing some extra damage. Nothing to say. Ooh. Yeah, that's better to be a Sand King than a Shaker there, and actually getting out. But Void can't do it on his own at the Chrono for a very long time, so again, you're kind of reliant on team damage. If Sand King's game is as weak as it is right now, you're very far from a Blink on NTS, and he's not realistically doing meaningful damage in Chrono without a dagger. So then what do you really have? A Grimstroke Nuke and an Inkswell. It's not all that inspiring. And again, how do you kill Medusa? I think that's my big question once more.
Come back to that as well. As the calling place from Sumail, they want to try to do something about this ancient stack. Deadshot does miss, but why? Taking pretty heavy damage as the Pinecone will continue autonomously, it feels. Burrow strike onto Omar. It's outside his cogs, but Bach has come to make sure that he does not get out with his life. So the clockwork death as Pinecone is continuing the pressure on the Y. He'll finally get some reinforcements for this pesky creep.
If that fire spirit would have hit, he would have died.
Jeez. Nobody wants to deal with this bad boy.
I don't know if that was intentional or not, but the neutral team, yeah, they weren't happy with him, so. They ran out of zombies to attack, and now they're just seeing everyone as a zombie.
And nothing to say is going to get most of these. Sumail, though, doing a good job of taking a few and disrupting this farm session for Tidebound.
I will say it's been a little bit interesting to see some of the stubbornness in drafts. Earlier this tournament, of course, we saw Heroic against Yakuto brothers to get to this main stage. Yakuto let Meepo through twice and just got owned by it twice in a row. Now you have this series with Tidebound against Enigma Galaxy, just got handled by Medusa, and in this second game, potentially the same thing could happen. I don't think you've counterpicked it much more than last game. It's a bit better. Slightly worrisome for the side of Tidebound, whether they came to the right conclusions after game one. You're not getting a third chance. You gotta deliver in this individual game or you are going home.
In terms of Noob's performance, he's obviously playing the Mars this game. We've talked about it in a couple of our casts in the past. It feels like he's been pretty inconsistent. Where would you put Mars on his list, though? It feels like he is one of the better ones.
Yeah, it's been one of his best heroes this tournament, but the hero in itself, it's also one of those heroes where it's really easy to look bad because the spear is so telegraphed and so iconic that if you miss 2 or 3 spears in a row, you might be like, man, I'm having an awful game, but we've had games in this tournament.
Oh, Arena comes out with the reinforcements as well. Shiro's in a bit of trouble. Gets silenced thanks to the calling. Sumail showing
the re-silence
there. And Y looks to be next on the list for NGX. Going to be able to get 2 kills here. And obviously the big one onto Shiro.
That was really nicely set up with the calling. Gets the silence, and as it's breaking, the dead shot from Sumail, perfect for the re-silence. Needed both of those to land. And now this is also going to give them a tier 1 tower, most likely. I don't know if Tidebound can really muster any defense here. They're trying to get the trade. Bach with his own Warpine Raider down bottom. Going to work, and well, they might try to defend. At least Bane has TP'd up here, but he's no threat. He's gonna need some backup if he wants to truly defend this. I don't think the Hellbear Smasher is gonna give up anytime soon.
And
just kidding, it'll give up, but it'll wait for next
solo
wave.
pushing.
Yep.
That's Helm of the Dom right there. Pretty crazy. So the tier 1 is Tidebound. This one is taking considerable damage as well, but you see NGX just kind of chilling a bit at the moment.
Compared to game 1, I really look forward to the later team fights here in, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes, because I think this time is less clear-cut. First of all, whether Nothing to Say is going to find impact. In the last game of Shaker, he was really struggling. Oh, Hangman might have to wait with that. GH might just get chronoed here.
Shows up, and actually it's a chrono onto 2, so Noob can't do too much. It's be a freebie for Tidebound. Actually, a Burrow Strike finding Omar in the meantime. Gets off the cogs as the calling comes out with the Pierce the Veil. It's going to be a lot of damage applied. A hook shot onto the top side as Y gets stunned out, but Nothing to Say is the big kill for NGX. So far, a 1-for-1. Tidebound now on the run. Arena is up, and Noob traps 2 members of Tidebound inside. They're going to be able to get the Tombstone along with the Bane, but Bach trying to go on top of Sumail. The Inksword doing so much damage. Nice combo separating him from the fight. Sumail now in a fight versus Shiro as the Stone Gaze comes out from Ghost at the last moment with the spear to follow. Huge kills from NGX. They save Sumail, and they get the core kills they came for.
Wow.
My goodness, that was as close as it gets.
Flawless spellcasting from Omar in this fight. He finds the perfect hook shot. He finds the perfect cog. And on the flip side, nothing to say with the initial jump in the river onto the clockwork. Have to question that one. He had no backup nearby when he went for that. You're going to see the replay here. This is when he just opened up on the clock, and they're trying to use this as a setup onto the grip, but as NTS is trying to make his way out of the cogs, he makes way for Omar for the interrupt. Now this is a nice 2-hero dead shot. Sumail is going to start being in trouble now, though. This was what I wanted to talk about. The Radiant don't have very good ways of destroying the tombstones. This is going to take Ghost a while, but he will get through it eventually with a little help from Noob. And now surely Sumail just dies here, right?
Yes.
But these cogs are perfect.
Nice Lotus coming out as well. Ooh, that was from Ghost, actually. And the volley to trap Shiro in. Man, that was a crazy fight. Meanwhile, GH dies in live play. This team fight puts MGX ahead so far in this game, too.
I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. They've just been playing better today so far. I mean, draft is one thing, but you're looking at all the small engagements, the skirmishes, the map movements. One of these teams has leveled up and the other one has leveled down. That's a saying.
Sure. Go with that.
And Team Tidebound, you got to find your footing soon. We're approaching the same state of Medusa as in game number 1. Now 3,000 net worth ahead of the Faceless Void. And yes, while that matchup arguably is a bit better than what you worked with last game with a Gyro, it's still not exactly a great counter when Medusa is ahead by even a slight amount.
Oh, hook shot from Omar. Bach gets silenced as well. They're going to use the arena, but the spear misses. They're going to take out the tower in turn, and they might just back away as Bach is going to get reinforcements now. TP via the Bane, and here comes the epicenter from Nothing to Say. A lot of damage applied as GH will drop to the deck, and now Sumail slow to a crawl.
Oh, that's
Soul Line, a double grip to follow, and Tidebound have finally woken up in this series. Double kill for Nothing to Say, a 3 for nothing for Tidebound.
And this right there is the perfect example of what we talked about with how polarizing Mars is. You miss that stun, you lose 3 heroes.
Yeah.
You hit that spear, maybe you get the Undying kill and you just get out. Everything completely different from that one mess up, and they're not always easy to hit, to be fair. So a good counterplay from Tidebound, getting themselves up to an 8-8 scoreline. Make no mistake, they're still behind, but they just need something to start going their way, and this time around, Nothing to Say has a meaningful amount of net worth, and he's putting it to use.
Yeah, they're going to use the Inkswell Burrow combo.
Not
enough damage, but the Yules is going to save Noob. Meanwhile, Nightmare to prevent Omar from initiating. As the hook shot actually does hit on the other side of the river planet. Stuck inside the cogs now with the Sunray to follow. Dead shot as well. That'll be a dead Grimstroke.
It's honestly, it's such a cool combo for Sumail to just be able to hit these dead shots all the time in the cogs. Saw the same thing in game number 1. Very well executed there.
Shiro working on his Maelstrom, still 600 away from finishing that. And for Ghost, who in that game 1 was uncontested for the entirety of the game, it feels like.
Yep.
We'll be going for the Maelstrom as well. He's a little bit closer.
220 CS incoming at 17 minutes.
Not bad. Yeah. This Medusa seems like you need to do something about it at some point.
Eventually, Void in this game is going to buy a Disperser without question.
You said that last game.
No.
Well,
First of all,
Void.
that wasn't a Faceless Void, and secondly, I didn't say he's definitely going to buy it.
You said he will eventually.
Well,
we never got to eventually because we just lost.
He will eventually.
Okay. Late game dotes, here we come. They actually see Faith Beyond. As the cover of his creep here.
I mean, I'm sure you would agree that this game state for Tidebound is significantly better than last game, right?
Yep.
Like, you're behind and Dusa is big, but you can see the potential for the team fights with the snippets of good fights that we have had so far from them. And I think the overall value of Grimstroke in this game, it totally eclipses that of Snapfire in the previous one. Because this Ags, the planet is rushing, can really change the game on the Grim. So he's missing about 2/3 of it. I say rushing, he's not rich. No, getting a first item.
Nightmare set up from Y. Nothing to say with the Inkswell. This is going to bring GH down. As Ghost does show up. Looks like they're going to be able to get the kill onto the Bane as here comes the rest of NGX to easily take out Nothing to Say. A good response after their Phoenix goes down.
Nice and easy there for Noob on the Mars spear, and then immediately forms the arena. Sand King walked into him in Sandstorm, so that one is just a clean hit. another great trade, and once again, Medusa just chilling. Sun growing here. Void will be able to catch up in a relative sense to the farming speed of Medusa once he gets the Mjolnir that helps you a lot with keeping that higher GPM, but until we get there, expect Ghost to grow this lead. Now, it's 5k. The entire lead, as a matter of fact, is sitting in the carry matchup. The rest of the cores are pretty even, which is also interesting to see compared to the previous game, because it does mean that if Tidebound managed to find fights that Medusa is not involved in, you're not at an inherently major deficit, unlike in game 1 where you were just losing in all lanes and all your cores were starting to fall behind. You have the pieces to work with here, you just need to get there. Sand King, 400 away from Ags, is a big damage upgrade for them, and will allow them to kill in Chrono. So they can weather the storm a little bit and accept the fact that Ghost will just have a free game. Perhaps you can solve him in the late game.
This would be a huge kill if they can find Noob. Gets silenced to start things out. He's second net worth in the game, by the way. Really good start for him. Shiro jumps in, though, with the Chronosphere. Sunray is there. That's going to dissuade Tidebound from going any further. Epicenter combo, though, onto GX, but he gets the egg at the last moment. Can they kill the egg? The Mars Arena is playing.
Oh, the Yule!
They get the Yules as well.
Oh,
the egg pops. GH is alive as a result. Nobody has died as well. Burrow Strike finds the Medusa. Inkswell under the King Save is going to get hook shot now, and now he's going to surely drop to the deck. One down for Tidebound. GH, Sunray right on top of Bane with the spear to follow and the dead shot. That is going to be 2 kills.
Damn.
And they can go for the Tormentor play.
Cut your losses, Tidebound. Get the hell out of there. That was perfect from Noob on the Mars. It's not just the Yule timing. He had the great arena placement to protect GH from the Brimstroke outside of it. Perfect timing. And without that Yule, the last attack from Sand King will destroy the egg and make for a completely different fight. Clutch. And they'd also get this Tormentor now. And you gotta say, for Enigma Galaxy, the name of the game has been zone control in both games. This clockwork from Omar has been amazing, and now they're adding the Mars to the mix. Just really dictating in which way Tidebound get to fight. Maybe got to question the Chrono, though. Maybe a little too early. Like, Sand King wasn't fully in range. He doesn't have Ags yet. Was that really the right way to start? That was on your initiative. Could have waited until you had Ags.
Noob has pipe now. And his counterpart in Bach also does. You can see how much magic damage outside of the Faceless Void that Tidebound has at their disposal.
I mean, this
pipe is going to be... Yeah, there's not much better pipe games you can ask for.
It's the best possible item he could have bought here. This is, of course, probably the Mars of the tournament we've been looking at has been XXS. They go for this exact build as well in one of their games that we passed the Mules into pipe. And I think he bought AC after. In that game, he maybe never even bought the dagger. This game, perhaps not needed. You've got Clockwork, and Omar is on fire today.
Oh, they're actually going for the Roach play. This is very risky. Rocket Flare is going to show them. Spear puts Planet back into the pit. Nightmare right now onto the Mars.
Are they out of their minds? Is this possible?
This is very
That is crazy. That is
thrown in the pit, and I mean, with that down, that maybe is enough for NGX just to go for this themselves, but obviously like to have it pick off first if they can.
Now there is also a pipe on Box, so they have a lot of damage block of their own against the side of Enigma Galaxy, but as you mentioned, no Tombstone's a pretty big deal. You do have the Epi with Ags, and they are going to potentially try to contest this fight.
This is a huge deal. 8K lead for NGX. Arena finds 2 for Noob. No follow-up yet, though, as Ghost is trickling his way over. Nice reveal time to do the follow, though. Omar trying to disrupt the backline. Already the Grimstroke is dead, and this Undying is just evaporating. Double kill for Ghost now, and inside the Cosmos, Bane is just getting completely countered. The Undying back up and running thanks to the Innate, so it's a 5 versus 3, but surely this fight is over, as NGX will be able to secure the first roach of the game.
Man, what a total disaster for Tidebound. Again, I'm going to come back to this. Starting on the Roach to begin with is kind of wild to me. They have really bad Roach damage. It's going to take them forever with the Tombstone. Enigma Galaxy are not going to get caught slipping there. They're going to check it. And they just get it. Not only the Roach for free, they had to work less for it than if they had gone there themselves. They also get 3 kills. And now we are looking at a game state that is reminding me an awful lot of Game 1. And unfortunately, as sad as it is to say, it does feel like Tidebound, in part, have just initiated 2 bad subsequent moves. The initial chrono on Mars down bot where they didn't have the follow-up damage, and now this forced Roche. Perhaps the pressure getting to them a little bit. This is uncharacteristic. We did not see this from them in the first stage of the tournament, but on the big stage, they might just come in with a road to TI score of 4-1, and as it looks now, perhaps just completely bombing out 0-4 in games.
Yeah, they have not looked like the same team from earlier in the tournament, for sure. Which is weird because they have 2 TI winners. 3, including the coach. Nerves should not be an issue. But NGX on the other side, they have actually leveled up as well. Because we've talked about this team in the past as well. Their biggest issue is they're inconsistent. Today, they have been very consistent. And if they can play this level, they can compete with anybody. Why? Spotting Omar in the triangle, seeing a couple stacks as well. 0 backup though as Omar using that shard to get to the high ground.
It's a good point about Enigma Galaxy. If you think about their tournament journey in general, a lot of the games they lost, they were ahead. So in most of their games, they are actually outplaying opponents the first 20 minutes. If they have solved the mid-late game problems, this is potentially the start of something big.
Omar's gonna get grip. Anub is there again with the arena play. Bean's grip is continuing. They don't have any damage, it feels like. Pipe is popped, and just like that, the fight might be over. But there's the Chronosphere. On to GH. Stonegaze is not gonna be enough to prevent his death as Shiro does take out GH in turn. So 1-for-1 support. Make it a 2-for-1 as Y will tumble. Will there be a stun here on the TPing Void? No. Battery Assault down for 7 more seconds.
Nothing to say, nowhere to be seen for that engagement. They did not combine Sand King and Void at all.
And we haven't really, I mean, we haven't seen the Ags that you spoke about, what, 5 minutes ago at this point?
Hasn't been used yet.
3 minutes on this Aegis. How much can they get this time out of the first Aegis? Last time around, it was basically all the tier 2s.
Well, looks like they're going for more this time.
Yeah, well,
straight up to
no
high
more
ground.
power.
They know there's no
Why
chrono. Like, no chrono, no grip. In what world do Tidebound kill Medusa twice right now?
Nightmare to start things out, but there's the creep at the ready. Helm of the Dom for the win. Nothing to say, jumps in with the Sandstorm. Get that shot out of it though.
There's some nail with the Ags as well on Medusa. Oh, excuse me, on the Huerta.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, he is going to have insane zone. The zone control together with Mars is unreal.
And Feeble's going to make this a little bit more annoying for Ghost, but eventually with the help of that siege creep, they get to tier 3 tower. Tidebound. Fox is going to pop his own with the Tombstone placed pretty far away as well. Pipe is activated though. As the Medusa getting pretty low on mana, but this is just life number 1 regardless. Stonegaze already used as well. Now New coming in with the arena on the 3 here, gets the spear on the box with the dead shot to follow that, the dead undying. Nothing to say, gets hook shot from out of nowhere by Omar as these heroes are just dropping like flies for Tidebound. And this is surely going to be a set of racks, if not more. There are 2 buybacks still available, but a spear finding the Grimstroke, planet dead. NGX dominating again in this game too.
I mean, this might be Noob's best game of the tournament.
Absolutely.
He has missed 1 spear and everything else has just been absolutely pristine precision on all his spellcasting, decision-making, itemization. He crushed his lane. He's had some haters out there telling him he doesn't belong. I'm pretty sure he's making a case in this game for why he's here. Can't really put a finger on his or Enigma Galaxy's play today, just crushing the opposition. This is not even close. We thought this series could get interesting, maybe 3 games, you know, maybe long games, in which Enigma Galaxy has had a history of struggling. Well, the great solution to throwing late games is just don't get there. Just win both games in 30 minutes.
What did they eat for breakfast? They need to replicate this for sure. Pipe activated already for Bach and NGX with 40 seconds on the Aegis, likely to play this discipline. We'll back away with an enormous lead now. 20k effectively, 2 sets of barracks, and only the 28-minute mark.
It's so weird how this tournament has played out. We had the first stage with all these marathon games, and you're like, all right, we get to the stage. These games are going to belong strap in for some long late-night days.
Yeah.
And so far, some of the shorter games on average have been on this stage. Like, some teams have just cracked the code of how to deal with the Helm of the Dom split push and slowing the game down. They're just accelerating and seemingly just have some really good individual team versus team matchups. Or the 3-day break, some teams have just learned something crucial that sets them that far apart of the opposition. I kind of feel like if this was a repeat series that we would have had in the Road to the International, There's no way Enigma Galaxy win 2 30-minute games then.
Yeah,
absolutely
for sure.
no way. Well, we're just improving at a rapid rate, and they're starting to look like a potential contender for a high placement. This is not an easy opponent. You're just making them look like a walk in the park.
I mean, we talked about this when the format of the tournament has changed in recent memory with these breaks in between. I mean, that 3 days apparently made a huge difference for some of these teams.
Yep.
In terms of not only catching up to the meta, but perhaps solving some of it to prevent these 60-minute marathon games.
Yeah, maybe Enigma Galaxy figured out the secret breakfast 3 days ago, and they've been pumping up on it, kind of like Asterix. You get that reference?
Sure.
You don't know Asterix and Obelix?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
Nothing to say. Gonna try to defend the high ground as NGX going without the Aegis, by the way, as the Tombstone is just easily gonna be cleaned up by Ghost. This is gonna be last-ditch effort. Tidebound need to defend, need to delay. They're gonna smoke to try to get a good initiation. There's the Inkswell with the epicenter from Nothing to Say. The Soulbind to follow. Shiro has the Chronosphere at the ready, but the Stonegaze is doing absolute work for Ghost. Finally comes out the Chrono, but the Egg with the beautiful Sunray placement, and Tidebound have basically nothing left in the tank. They are dropping hard as Shiro trying to time walk away. He'll get it. No! Triple kill for Sumail as one last dead shot for the road. Buybacks now fully expended on the Tidebound side, as Bach just getting kited to a high degree by Ghost, who's still fighting despite not having Aegis and no mana to speak of, as Noob brings Bach down and likely out for the rest of this tournament. GG is called as NGX 2-0 and continue their run here at TI.
Wow. You could have told me earlier today that Enigma Galaxy might be leveling up after their loss yesterday and they would figure something out and bring their best. I would have not believed you that this series was going to take about an hour total. Completely destroyed them both games. This Medusa strategy, Tidebound did not have the answer, and credit where it's due. These have been 2 really nice drafts from Kuro and the gang, and really not. When you look back on this series, there isn't really much to say about Enigma Galaxy making any crucial mistakes. They knew their limits, they ran something new, they're bringing this mid Muerta to the table that other teams in the future now have to address. And for me, the player of the series, probably if I have to pick one, Omar and the Clockwork, 2 games in a row.
100%.
Just stellar performance. And then this one, of course, for this individual game, gotta highlight Noob once more. What an incredible Mars performance.
Yeah, this might be the best Mars performance we've seen in the entire tournament, period. He was all over the place. And like you said, a single mistake, which is a hero that you typically will see many mistakes throughout a game of this length, but not the case this time for Noob. But they picked 3 of the same heroes NGX does as game number 1, and they still, Tidebound has no answers.
Yeah, it just seems, I mean, it is unfortunate, right? Tidebound had a great start to the series, now on the big stage, 0-4, not how you want it to go out.
Let's hear from the king.
I think we should. Sumail, what did you guys figure out? Because this looked so clean from you guys.
We had some calm issues yesterday and a bit of nerves maybe. First stage series, but we had good talks last night and this morning. I think turned out well.
I mean, you've been on the main stage of TI loads of times now, but what about your teammates that haven't? How are they dealing with the TI pressure so well?
I think they're fine now. Maybe yesterday was a bit rough. I mean, even for myself, I still feel it, you know, especially the first games with this huge crowd and stuff like this. It's amazing, guys. It's amazing, to be honest. I love it.
Do you have any word for the fans out there in the audience who keep cheering so loudly for you?
It's always fun. Pretty much the reason I still compete, for this crowd.
I do want to talk about your mid games as well, because Muerta mid, a little bit interesting from you. Where did this come from? Where did this Muerta mid idea come from?
I don't know. I just felt like there should be a new hero. Everyone has their heroes. I figured I'd do, why not Muerta, you know, with Dom.
It's very cool. It's looking really, really good, and it certainly got the best of Tidebound this time around. So, finally, now you move on once again. How do you feel playing in the lower bracket? How do you stop that getting to you?
I think we play better when we are on the verge of getting out, to be honest. So maybe it's better for us.
Famously so. Sumail, thank you so much for coming to talk to me. Good luck. Hamburg, let's make some noise. The king is back to TI!
fast-paced arena here for Sumail, for Nigma Galaxy, and I love it because I was going to say the same thing. I think Nigma Galaxy are a team that thrive against elimination. This lower bracket is where we're going to see them step up just another level. That's where they were doing so well in the road to the international playoffs, is against those eliminations. And here Sumail's like, well, elimination, it's time to throw a new hero in the pool, develop his hero pool a little bit more.
That's how you win. I mean, we saw Heroic in the previous series as well, bringing in new ideas, new stuff, and that's exactly what the NGX did in this one. Double Muerta, double Clockwork as well coming up from Amar. It was very, very clean. This is just a complete stomp.
I think Sumail learned from Kuro that he's underplaying the Muerta on purpose because this is tech. Like, what he did in this game, in both games, was very significant because there's a lot of these melee mids that are being picked, and he stomped both games against like two of the strongest mid laners currently in the patch. So like they cooked. Whenever they cooked this, they cooked well.
I mean, it's also the way they did it yesterday, right? Because Omar played the hero yesterday and he did really well with the hero, and then they pick it again today. So you would think that, oh, it's going to be a support again, you know? And then it's not.
Before we talk much more about it and move on, of course, with Nigma Galaxy advancing here, it does mean we unfortunately have to say goodbye to Team Tidebound.
Yes, thank you, Nat. I am here with Bart of Team Tidebound. Very sorry to see you guys go out at this stage of the tournament, but Team Tidebound have had a fantastic year in many ways. What was the highlight of this year for you, thinking back to happier times?
非常遗憾，但是Tidebound这个赛季也有很多的高光时刻。对你自己来说，过去这一年最高光的时刻是什么呢？
最高光时刻肯定是在雪如意拿冠军吧，那个是我们就是这个队第一次冠军嘛。对。
Our highlight has to be our win in Club Vision. It was our team's first win, and it was very memorable.
Wonderful. These games seem to be a lot faster than they were in the road to TI. Is that something that you struggled to adapt to, the games being so much faster here on the main stage?
正在舞台上的比赛跟 TI 之路的比赛相比起，会节奏快很多，是没有适应呢，还是你觉得对你们有影响吗？
我觉得主要是我们自己做的不是很好吧。感觉在当前版本，就是如果打得够好的队伍，自己打的阵容体系够完整，然后失误够少的话，比赛还是会比较长的。然后我们这几把失利主要都是自己做的不够好吧。
I believe it was because we didn't deal with it properly. For stronger teams who would have a better, well-rounded strategies and less mistakes, they would have dealt with it better. So I think it was more on us.
I see. So what do you think changed between the road to TI section when you guys looked so dominant to now? Was it just the speed of the games or struggled to adapt to the changing in the meta maybe?
相比起 TI 之路的比赛，你觉得是没有适应节奏呢，还是有其他的原因呢？
我觉得是经过这几天的调整，每个队伍都有一些自己新的打法和理解吧。就比如说刚才他们的中单奶绿，然后我们就是没有，我们还是在玩一些之前比较老的东西，然后对对面没有做出很好的针对吧，对。
I believe it's because a lot of teams have adapted to new strategies. They're bringing out more new stuff to the table, and we're still playing strategies from before. So I think it's because we didn't have anything new on the table.
I'm sorry to hear that. Do you have any words for the fans here in the arena and back home who've been cheering for you guys, who've been supporting you guys throughout the year and here?
有没有任何可以跟粉丝这一整年来支持你的粉丝，在家里或者在现场，有什么想对他们说的吗？
首先很感谢大家一直这一年对我们的支持，然后很遗憾这个比赛我们就走到这里了，这个确实比较难过吧，因为我们一开始也是冲着更高的目标来的，然后这个比赛还是很棒的，我自己也很享受这个比赛。然后就希望这个比赛之后一切顺利，然后大家也能继续享受这个比赛。
Thank you everyone for the entire year's support. I do really enjoy playing on this stage, and I think it's a great tournament. We came in expecting to do better. Unfortunately, we didn't do that. However, for the remaining of this tournament, I do hope that everyone continues to enjoy the event and see some great tournament.
back. Fantastic answer. Thank you so much. You are a Dota legend. It's a privilege to talk to you, and we're very sorry to see you go out. So thank you for the interview, and back to the panel.
Thank you so much, Pyrian and Bach as well. Even in a moment of sadness for him, he's still wishing everyone's going to continue watching, having a lot of fun at this international, see some good Dota. And I'm sure whilst he's sad with his resulting down, he wants to see XG, go on, carry that torch for China. And there's definitely possibility in that. But unfortunately for Tidebound, seeing the potential of the repeat for Y or Faith Beyond / Bach here is just not going to happen. An unfortunate loss for them.
Yeah, that was a very, very Bach interview. Always thinking of everybody else. Guy's a complete legend. And I think the whole year has been good for them. Like, I really do think that they've surprised a lot of people. Like, it felt like for the whole year, they were the team that, like, in China would do, like, okay. But then when they were competing on an international stage, they would do better than the other Chinese teams. They were the international guys. So theirs were some of the disappointment ones. But top 8 is still incredible.
Amazing.
Like, this is unexpected results from the region in general. Of course, when you're a TI winner, you always want more, but they lost to an incredible opponent today, too.
They did, and also when we look at teams that have already gone out in the road to the international, there is something to be said, making top 8 is just a feat in itself. To get to play on this stage twice is a massive feat as well. And in this game, number 2, it going the way of Nightreign Galaxy, we want to focus on them and just how their journey is on the way that they could make this work. 2 debutantes when it comes to TI, not having nerves now that they're playing their second series on the stage. This game number 2 was a big one, seeing Sumail rotating a lot, helping those side lanes as well, someone who's very familiar with how to play this mid-water, apparently, Winter.
I mean, it's definitely new tech for me. I've never seen it, but I could understand why it's really good right now with the Helm of Dom. And it kind of also punishes a lot of the melee heroes where you just lose the lane really, really hard against the Muerta, and she becomes this monster where the hero generally before wins the lane, but he doesn't take your tower. But now he wins the lane and he kills your tower with the help. So it's actually made it difficult to play. Yeah. And right now we see here the first rotation. He wins his lane, kills his tower, and then he moves to the side lanes to start being useful and ganking the enemy carry.
It's kind of like a Lycan mid in that way, I guess, or like a Beastmaster mid that you can move to lanes and pressure, and you can pressure your lane as well, or like a Broodmother mid. It's some really weird mix of play styles where I agree, like maybe this is something that will turn out to after TI ends, like people consider overpowered because you have this lane dominator that, hey, also can apply pressure to.
Yes. Omar cooked pretty hard in this fight. I think he's slightly underrated member of the team. We're not mentioning him enough, but his Glocko performance in game number 1 was top tier. In the second game, he even did it better, like keeping them inside of the cogs, making sure that they're not dying, and also Sumail really pushing the limits of the hero GH behind him, making sure that he doesn't die.
The spear as well.
The spears as well. It was just a beautiful execution.
Full team play execution. S tier.
Yeah, we were saying sometimes the drafts, even if it's just a slight out drop, that's not enough. You really got to get in there. You've got to make sure that it's there. For Nightreign Galaxy having those strong lanes, yesterday it wasn't converting into wins for them. This time around, it felt very flawless. I got to give it to the off lane just in general, not specifically Noob, but the combo of Noob and Amar, because Amar on his clockwork was really something to be reckoned with here.
He definitely was. But Noob, I think this is also a player that is following up with each game that they're playing, especially on the main stage. Like yesterday, he had some really good performances as well. But this performance on Mars specifically, they picked it on 23, and understanding that this is going to be a really good game for it. And look at how much he's going to be able to tank. They're pretty much using every single ulti on top of him, except for the grip and initiation onto GH. He gets the egg off in the last millisecond. He's going to be protecting him with the arena so they don't see inside it. Also making sure that he's using that dual scepter, making sure that GH Nova is going to explode, and playing a bit of a, like, look at his understanding. He knows exactly when the tank is going to go in, so he goes back and he's going to be ready to round up another round of spells, making sure that they can get another kill.
This fight is a perfect example of why you should play as a unit in Dota and how strong it is. Because first, GH saves Noob with the Solar Crest, he's getting gone off with the Chronosphere, and then because Noob is alive, he can use the duels at the last possible second. He returns the favor immediately. Like, this is why we play together in team fights.
It's a big one there. It's something that I also think has been leaning favorites to other teams as well. It's something that's really hard to break apart when a team gets ahead in these lanes, when they start working together as a 5, even as a trio that we talked about was important. How do you break that apart? Was there really a fighting chance against something like this?
I think it comes down to the team fight, right? And I already mentioned that one thing I got really worried about Team Taiwan is they have 3 melee cores into a Phoenix Gate, right? And it's gonna be, difficult no matter what when you have that kind of setup against Phoenix Gate. So in that regard, I think maybe some of the fights they could have dealt with it much better, but it was always gonna be difficult from the get-go. You have to somehow manage to snowball and get a lead from the laning phase and go through.
How do we deal with this once we go forward? Now it's a big target on his back, Sumail, and potentially bringing that out at any point. Maybe even other mid-makers kind of interested with it too.
They might. We're seeing the 100 copying the strategies Michael that this Monkey King was using 479 class. He's bringing it to another level with the skeletons blocking the camps as well. Now Sumail brings this Helm of the Dominator Muerta mid, and we might be seeing him just banned against him because the hero is doing way too much. And so it's not just the hero, but the combination and the way he's playing, how confident he's playing the hero.
It's also the style, right? I think it's like you want to pick a hero in it that can win the lane and then buy it down, build the power, and want the support to follow you all the way so you take control of the map from the start. I think that seems like it's really, really strong right now. Punishes team can take
This is my question, is not about Muerta, but it's about what other mids can do that playstyle. Because that playstyle seems like the counter to the current set of heroes that we play.
This is basically what we had a couple of years ago when people were buying Necro 1 on every single hero, pretty much hardcore with Necro 1, but you don't want to upgrade it simple. Help the Dominator, you do not want to upgrade it unless you're playing Might, unless maybe you're playing Beastmaster, and I'm trying to figure out which is the best hero, really pushing the limits of strategies and which heroes can use the best.
Everyone's adapting, everyone's pushing things to the limit, whether it's item builds, hero picks, exactly what is going on. Eliminations are done for today. We're only halfway through. We still have 2 more series to happen here at Barclays Arena. Before we jump on into them, though, we're going to check in with Tsunami and Slacks down on the stage.
Absolutely, my friends. How are we doing, Hamburg? All right. Now, you guys have been watching a lot of Dota games here, obviously, and you might have seen many interesting items. The worst of which, of course, is Helm of the Dominator. We're all sick of this item, of course. What can you do? But I decided to test today if Helm of the Dominator is as good in real life as it is in-game. So we're going to play a little game. Tsunami, my friend, we have gotten 6 victims here today, and we have designed for them Helms of the Dominator, all right? We got 3 creeps here and 3 humans. Now, creeps, please put on your helms. Thank you so much. First, we have Lil Booglin, my man. Then we got Dark Troll Summoner right here, and then we got Centaur Conqueror. Here is the game, my friends. I will be in the center of the arena. Humans, heroes, you must direct your controlled creeps to me. Whoever gets to me first wins. However, if 2 dominated creeps meet on the field of battle, they must fight each other for 3 seconds with their frilly little hands. All right? Tsunami, spin our wonderful neutral creeps. Spin, walk them around. Now, crowd, I do need your help as well. If any one of these creeps makes it near me, I need you to make it completely impossible for them to hear their heroes. There we go, Booglin, spin around. So, if little Booglin makes it close, I need you guys to cheer in the audience. Booglin, Booglin, Booglin. Can I hear it right now, please? There we go. If Troll gets too close, I need Troll, Troll, Troll. And if Centaur gets too close, I need Centaur, Centaur. All right. Neutral creeps, are you ready? Let's see. Oh, spin that Centaur, spin that sickle Centaur. All right, neutral creeps, are you ready? Thumbs up. Oh, they're really confused. They don't even know if they can even hear that. All right. Humans, heroes, are you ready? Okay, on the count of 3. Whoever gets to me first gets the wonderful prize in 3, 2, 1. Let's play some Dota, baby!
Let's get started. We're making movements.
Neutral flag.
Hold on now. We're shuffling, we're microing, they're looking, they're searching feverishly. Poor Centaur here. What are you, Falcons level micro? You're just standing there right now. Hold on. We gotta have a neutral fight. Neutral fight.
Yes!
Fight.
Okay.
They're on the prowl. They're on the hunt. I saw some contact.
That's slight contact, slight
You are
contact.
so evasive right now. Poor Dark Troll Summoner trying to rally some skeletons off in the distance. The Boglet hoping to evolve one day. And we got another neutral fight. Neutral fight.
Neutral fight! Okay. Okay.
I feel like we're getting close.
We are.
Little Boglet is on the prowl.
Okay.
He's hunting. He's circling. He's tripping and falling.
Yeah!
The Boglet!
Boglet! Yeah, man! Congratulations, little Boglet. Any words to the audience?
That was stressful, man. Holy shit.
Here is your prize. This.
Yeah, man!
Congratulations! Falcons, okay! And I got you a prize too, somewhere. Here, you can have that.
Thank you very much, heroic fans! Heroic!
Thank you, my loser creeps. We all can't dominate like the rest. What can you do? Thank you so much, everybody. We'll get back to the game soon.
Thank you very much, Sir Action Slacks, and the Creeps, and the Helm of the Dominator carriers, and Tsunami, of course, as well. They're on stage. It is time for the second half of the day. We've had 2 series with elimination on the line, and for now, we can rest easy. Nobody else is going home today. It's time for some upper bracket semifinals. And to talk all about that, I'm joined by Kezu, Tigov, and Effie. Effie, we're going to jump right into our upcoming first semifinals. We got P-Vision, we got Extreme Gaming. Are you excited?
I'm so excited. I mean, the lower bracket was really fun, but here is where we're going to decide the top 3. And a lot of the teams yesterday really showed what they're made of, and who I personally think will be in the grand finals is one of the 2 teams in this league.
Ooh, you're not going to say bias?
You have to tell me which one.
Come on.
Don't put me on the... Okay, I'm going to say it. I think the P-Vision will be there.
That's interesting because I can go be the counter one because I have XG winning this one and them going into the finals.
I'm
like through
winning the whole thing.
Yeah, like going through the upper bracket, but I will agree. Also, yesterday I feel like a lot of games were actually 2-0. Same with today. I'm expecting this one to go the distance because at TI and especially at this stage of TI, you don't know what's going to happen. Like who shows up better, you know, who's in better form. Are you going to get some double damage moves when other people are not? Like it's a lot about just the form that you show up in today.
I feel like this has to be the closest series we have.
Yeah.
Like we've already had one-sided series in the morning. When you have XG and P-Vision, you've got XG, Arme chasing his ages, you've got P-Vision, the creativity, a lot of like first time, but this has to be like the closest series of the day.
Yeah, and one thing that's going to make it very close is how obviously all the players perform, and we want to put our attention a little bit more on 2 players in particular, Kezu, the support duo of Extreme Gaming.
No, absolutely. Like these 2 supports, they're so damn good. Like first of all, they're incredible. Like in their own, like the items they buy, what they do. Like here, this is just some, you know, like some normal stats, average stuff, just like their best. But I just want you guys to remember their faces for the clip that we're about to watch. And you're gonna have to bear with me. This is somewhat of a longer clip. This is from the road to TI game 2. They needed to make a comeback here on XG, and they did. This Rax is 1 blast away from dying, and it's mega creeps. So this is how it starts, and pay attention to the spell usage. First disruption here is gonna dodge the RP from Amar. So this is how the fight starts. Thank you, disruption save, super good. The Lincolns and Lotus also already reflected the first roar on Ame. Because our eyes are on Ame and what the supports do. X-Nova in this fight also leaps in and out. He's gonna Lotus and Lincolns him again. He's gonna reflect the Abyssal Blade. He feeds him 2 Lotus Orbs. He has a 4-staff from Jinkyu into a secondary disruption, while Ame is on super low HP. Now X-Nova runs in again. He gives him a second greater healing Lotus. Because people were like, wow, you know, Ame, he's so good. He gets to man fight his Lifestealer. But actually, in reality, it's about how they all play together. It's the spell usage, it's the items, it's the small things, how they kite in and out to actually come back in this game. There's very few teams that would have won this fight, let alone even made a comeback in this game to win it.
The critical thing is, Arme is averaging the 2nd most kills per game, right? He's getting nearly, 9 kills per game. Like, he's going to the crazy spots of the map. He's doing the things that will allow him to shine. And if his supports aren't there, if his off-lane mid aren't backing him up, it will look like Arme's just feeding it out of position. So the rest of his team is understanding the aggression he requires. They're backing him up. They understand it. That's why they're doing so well.
Yeah, and the cool thing about Ame is he doesn't really have a particular archetype of hero that works for him. It feels like everything does. He can play at the Helm of the Dominator carry if he needs to, with his Anti-Mage or his Void. He can play for the ultra late game if he needs to with his Medusas and whatnot. Like, he's almost a perfect carry, I would say, in this tournament.
And
You
yes-
can count on him in any situation.
Yeah, and yesterday he busted out the Klings. It's a hero we didn't see. Sure, you had the Slaughter to like amp him up, and I saw it in pubs, but again, like you're saying, he can play anything, he can do any build, he can play for any timing, just S tier player.
Yeah, and all the players here, TGAV, are also very experienced in playing on the main stage of the International.
Yeah, it's been kind of a long time coming for them to find a success story. For XG at least, we've got 7 TIs attended for Arme, including this one. For XM, sure, it's only 2, but he started in 2017. They've had such long careers yet to get the ages. If there ever was a chance for them to lift it, it feels like the form that they're in, the way that they're playing, there is a chance that all these players with multiple TI attendances, this could be their one.
It could be their one, and on the flip side, I mean, there's a lot of experience on the side of Extreme Gaming, Effie, but then if we take a look at P-Vision, it's a bit of a different story.
Yeah, I mean, you do have your veterans, of course, in No One and DM, who are no strangers to TI, but we've also got Satanic, 9-Class, and Ducalis, who are almost fresh, And it's a bit odd to think about, because Ducalis is one of the names we've seen in professional Dota forever, like floating from Tier 2 team, having his stint in Tier 1 and finally finding his place here. This could be the year for these players as well.
Yeah, and I do want to point out, no, Satanic did not play when he was, 6, I can't do the math. It was actually 2023 for his first recorded results rather than 2013, which obviously, he's one of the youngest players here at 17.
That would be really cool, actually.
Yeah. I mean, but his age, like, it's crazy. He's 17. Like, having, playing at TI, like, already, top 6 secured, like, it's incredible. And to go back to the graphic we saw, like, on XG, you have 3 players who got 2nd place at TI before. It's Ame, who I think he did it twice. You have Jinkyu and Xnor, who also played 2nd before. Like, these are players that have been this close, and this time, I think, like you were saying, this could be the run.
You also have Exorcist who placed 4th, I believe, with Team Master a couple of years ago.
Like, they have really high placements.
They have really high placements. They also have a very high-skilled opponents in P-Vision for this time. Because when we're looking at P-Vision and the games they have played, Effie, it seems that they have a large arsenal of heroes to pick from.
Yeah, not even heroes. I wanted to point you guys towards their styles in particular, because P-Vision are a team that aren't locked to one particular style. They can play almost everything. And so I just divided into 3 simple categories that you can look at for this TI, but they've got the standard drafts, team fight, combos that make sense. Nothing special coming out, no last pick heroes that will catch anyone off guard. Then you've got their surprise factor, their cheese, if you will. Sometimes they'll get the last pick takers, the last pick blue hunters, or guard, and then their last pick of course is a category where their last pick is hero, closing mage, anyways.
I mean, I'm like super happy with what they're doing. Like, even in one of the first days of I saw their matches with like the Fox for Alchemist with the Tinker pulling him an axe. They got me really excited because we don't see it that often where teams break the meta, at least early on at TI. So this team, I love how they play and pick.
Yeah, and it's going to be very interesting to see them here on the main stage, because I'm sure they have studied each other and they have something in store for each other that we're going to find out very soon. Before we do so, though, it is, of course, time to get the teams on stage.
And we're back. Extreme Gaming!
Extreme Gaming has not dropped a single series this international. It is the most dominant team, and at the moment they are on a fast track all the way to the top. At this point, you might be wondering who can possibly stop them. Well, potentially today it might be their opponents. Let's welcome in P-Vision.
Choose wisely and crush those responsible.
doesn't matter. It does not phase them, and if anything, it is helping them reach their full potential. Of course, still on the way to be some Royal Roaders here as well with them. We don't have a lot of those, Tigo.
No, not at all. But the way that Satanic's playing, he's so young, but he's averaging like 2 deaths per game. Like he's at TI, his first TI, and he's just dominating. Highest GPM, 2 deaths per game. Like every stat you look at, it looks as if he's meant to be the veteran. It's like he's meant to be like the no one of the team.
He's so good. He's got that team spirit DNA. Back from Yellow Submarine, where he's got the Yatoro energy, where he can put a game on his back if he needs to. But also, after he joined P-Vision, it feels like he's developed that early game aggression, that ability to cheese. He's blossomed into his own player, where I do think he can finally put an end to those comparisons.
Yeah, like I've seen it a lot also in like a lot of the vlogs that they post. Like he has a pretty good bond with No One, who of course is the veteran of the team, who's like, yo guy, like yo bro, after this game, like you need to chill it out a bit, like control your emotions, let's do this more next time, to like, you know, just rally him and make sure it's correct. But I agree with you guys, like this guy, it's probably the best for you to be the maybe more so cocky carry player, because you're young, you're going to the TI stage, you're going up against incredible players. Like you need to just focus on yourself, and this guy, if there's one thing he's got, it's confidence.
It helps that P-Vision have such a clear understanding of what they want to do on the map, right? They are the team which buys, I believe, still 100% of Helmet Dominator in every game, because they respect map play, they respect how to push on a catapult wave, they want the creep to be able to kind of push the side lane whilst they're playing elsewhere. Like everything they do on the map enables the creativity. If their map play was weak, then them picking a Tinker carry and having an out support, it would look atrocious. But that is why they're so dominant. And for Extreme, they need to try and find a way to break that confident map play that P-Vision often have.
Or match it themselves, right?
Sure.
They've got the ability to play tempo themselves. We've seen Ame on Anti-Mage pick up Palm of the Dominator. We've seen XM play a co-op that just so heavily focused on killing side lanes. They're capable of doing it themselves.
Yeah, I also feel like we have to address the support duo on the side of P-Vision. We talked about Extreme Gaming already, but Nineclass and Ducalis are such a unique pair, Kazu, with unique heroes
like,
coming out.
Like for sure, like Nineclass is maybe like the most, like, this is kind of what people expect from the post-4. It's like the most free role in terms of what you can do. You walk around, you know, like people like to make this anecdote of you have this dog chasing the ball, you just gotta let him do what he wants. And I think they do it really well. The map that you guys talked about, it's Nineclass, it's what he does. And Ducalis, I feel like he's just very stable. People have this meme in pubs, it's the Ducalis ABC. When the game starts, you go here, you smoke it 45 seconds, you take this route, you get the first blood. Like these guys, they know what they're up to.
But if you also put Nineclass in a different offlaner, Nineclass also would actually look quite bad, I think. Yeah. Because of DM and his stability, Nineclass gets to shine. If DM was a weaker offlaner, and then Nineclass goes to make all these moves, then DM will have a different offlaner will have a struggling time, they won't feel like they capitalize on it. So like you need a good offlaner for Nineclass to become the S tier 4.
Oh, absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, that dynamic is paralleled on XG. When you have a 4 like Zincu,
yeah.
very similar to Nineclass in the sense that he has his own idea of what he wants to do. In that early game, sometimes he will completely sack his offlane. He'll play for his own game, he'll play very greedily. Having an offlaner like XXS, who is very stable and has experience playing with these really greedy Chinese carries, he can do a lot with a little as well.
They're probably the 2+4 guys who like share the least tangles in lane, or like invest the least money to like actually help the guy, because yeah, they're gonna play for their own stuff, you know, but they just make it happen. And like T was saying, like DM's hero pool and the way he wants to play, your Venos, your Necros, these Masters, they free up your 4 pretty nicely. And I feel like DM, he has a good experience of playing with people who maybe don't help him too much. So yeah, he's pretty happy with what's happening.
I want to say though that probably we talk about using support hero and how they're specific around usual. People forget that they can play normal heroes too. Like sometimes you think, oh, is coming out and he's just not fire or something. But that can still happen where you're prepared for these large teams alchemists to come out, and instead they're just gonna take a stable alchemist hero and then change your plans or work the way you want to craft.
Yeah, Nineclass is probably the player, like if you try to predict what hero he's gonna pick, like you just can't get it. You should play like some Nineclass bingo, like Nineclass picks Pudge, like you get it off the road and like do some other stuff, because this guy, I don't know where he cooks up his hero picks. I think it has a lot to do with Astini, like they share and then he tries it in low MR pods and like then takes it there. So I think it's a really cool dynamic also.
You just have to find a line of where does the respect become a detriment of your drafting, right? And when you go to P-Vision, if you over-respect Nineclass, if you overthink like Satanic can play the Brood or a Tinker, then sure, your draft's going to come. I think we've seen it already with the teams where they don't respect the kind of the integrity of their own lineup, right? With Enigma, with Tidebound, they kind of go a little bit too crazy in the draft. for Extreme, they have to draft themselves and respect the playstyle that will come. Don't try and draft for PV. If you see that today, that's what PV should try and have the upper hand.
Yeah, so far, I feel like Extreme, I mean, they have not dropped this in the series, but they have very much played their own playstyle time and time again. It doesn't seem like Vision doesn't know what's coming, because Extreme Gaming has shown what they do time and time again. They did do it exceptionally well.
I think the main difference for Extreme is, even from the interview you just had from Bach, is from Road to now, they feel like they've had another change of pace. They're a slightly different team. Like they're going to Winter Wild and they have their things. They've shown that development that I think both teams are going to have to be ready for something new in this series.
I mean, for me too, I think there's a lot of like really cool things to do. For me, XM and XXS, I feel like they've stepped it up tremendously. Not that they were bad before, but they're like incredibly S tier now. Like they buy like Lotus Orbs and they reflect Dooms, and they refresh their Lincolns to block Dooms, and like all the stuff they do. But I do feel like, for me, they're still one of the favorites, but I did see some cracks in their armor yesterday when they played against Tundra. They weren't super clean. Of course, they cleaned it up. They got the 2-0 win, but it's the first time where I saw them like more vulnerable than the earlier days.
I agree. I thought their first game in particular versus Tundra showed that early game vulnerability that they were known for a couple of years ago, where, oh, this team might play a little bit slower, they might play for a later timing, and we can exploit that. We can out-network them. And that's what happened in their game 1 versus Tundra. But they found that comeback, right? With that discipline, they were able to pull off the high ground defense into ultimately winning the game.
Yeah, if we talk about yesterday's series, it was a 2-0 against Tundra for Extreme. How can we learn from the series that P-Vision had yesterday against Heroic? Another 2-0. It felt maybe a little bit easier of a route to this point than Extreme had, or was that more a result of P-Vision just being extra prepared?
It's fair to say that because the series versus Tundra for XG felt closer than the score alone, whereas Vision 1 was smooth. They were winning in those games. They just had their strategies on lock. I think that position 4 Monkey did so much for them, and maybe that's something that can be learned from XG today. They can look at what they want to do with the Monkey King. Do they want to try to do it themselves, aggressive within the draft, or just let 9 class them?
I think critically in game 2, P-Vision had 3 cores that had lane dominating aspects. TA, lane dominator. Phoenix in the off lane, in the correct matchup, lane dominator. Queen of Pain, lane dominator. Map, early game. And that is the thing. XG, we want them to see scaling and a bit more time to then feel like they come online. So P-Vision come into this draft with 3 cores that break lane, armies on the back foot. We don't get to see that pop-off potential from the mid lane of XG. We could see some problems. And yeah, I think respect the aggression from the cores this season.
Yeah, like one thing that I could see that XG could take away from yesterday also is that P-Vision, more than any other team, I think they play off of map and vision. Like that's why they love the Dominator so much. Push the waves, get yourself the vision going on. But also they are quite greedy in terms of their offlane. Like, if I'm Extreme Gaming, you could look to craft a Disruptor Ursa lane, for instance, against the Monkey King 4, the Slide 4, the Putman. Like they don't do much there, so maybe there's something they can take into it. But yeah, if you look at like the hero pool comparison, there's a lot of like fight and also offlane focus when it comes to Extreme Gaming. Like Mars has looked incredible in all of them.
I see stability on the left, I see chaos on the right.
With first stability, I love what you said about the Mars. I was thinking that XXS has not been talked about enough because he has had some ridiculous Mars performances this TI. And that is a hero that I want to see him play today, especially if he's going to get slacked. Whatever, just play for Yule's Blink, playmake. Be that stable hero for your team.
Well,
be that guy that anchors the fight.
Yeah, like people, they seem to be playing it so well. Like you have these 4s that just give you all the damage, you lane well. And I mean, XXS's Mars for years has been famous for, you know, the correct builds, the correct items, doesn't feed, just very, very stable players. And then TI not being able to like kill your opponents or you miss smoke ganks, it really gets to you.
That is quite the career indeed. I mean, it's one of the players that we haven't touched upon yet that much. I feel like we talk about him a lot, and we want to always talk about him a lot. And we're gonna talk about him a lot, probably in the heroes that he's getting, and also, of course, his counterpart in XN in the upcoming series. But if we want to continue talking about the upcoming series, we should start talking about that first game. Here we go. We got Extreme Gaming on the Radiant side for our opening match. We got P-Vision, Dire, and it is first pick on lane of Extreme. And I do still want to touch upon that mid lane a little bit, Tigo. of, because it is a very interesting matchup. We have a lot of stuff happening on the side lanes, and that's why we talked about it so much, because that's where maybe the unusual things happen, but also that's where the Army versus Satanic happens. We got the position force that I talked about, but mid feels like fairly stable. They got both a fairly stable mid lane going for themselves.
Yeah, extremely traditional from both XM and No One. They want to be the playmakers, they're playing the spirit heroes, they're playing the odd shaker, or they just want to be part of the game. And of course, when you think about those players, it then goes back to the side lanes, unfortunately, where how well do they go? Do the supports get freed up? Can they then activate these mid laners that want to be on every rune, making them move? I love the ban from XG. The fact they go for the Enigma and the Phoenix ban, both off laners for DM, but they're the off laners that make the opponent draft for that hero specifically. So if you pick Enigma, do you have Waveling? If you have Phoenix, do you have Dispel or some type of healing support to survive the lane? So get rid of them. Don't force Arme to play a single hero.
Oh, here it comes.
Here it comes.
I mean, it looked good in this tournament. Slark has seen a lot of nerfs over the last few months, especially after Slark became so popular because of P-Vision. But this is the one team that didn't really give up on it, regardless of when it's with this hero. You can just play for superior vision, play for D-wards, play for that superior movement during lane. Yesterday, I think they ran a Slark plus Night Stalker to capitalize on vision. Maybe they could look towards him.
Yeah, sure. And it's just like what they want to do. Like they know that, the offlane, it's not necessarily designed to win. You just get your stuff, then in the mid game, that's where it really kicks in the D-warding vision. Like you mentioned, like that is what they're gonna play through. I do feel like Extreme Gaming, you mentioned the bans, I'm also completely on board. I think it makes the Undying a lot better. Maybe for D-Vision there is a route also where you put flex to start. I think most likely not, but again, it is something that they value a lot. Maybe it's very low chance for it to happen, but you cannot disrespect it at this level.
Let's see what is coming afterwards, because with these openings, not much that either team is giving away yet. We have seen the Undying in the hands of XXS, very successful. We've seen Nineclass be very successful on his Slark. Not unexpected heroes, but also not heroes that you could really know what route the draft is taking. We got the Poker ban and we got a Medusa ban. Medusa ban coming out for Extreme.
Already.
No, go ahead, T.
Thank you. Yes. Undying in the offlane, right? No stun, it's no control, therefore the Slark is going to feel like he has the free game, right? The ability to just run around, do what he wants, like you already mentioned. But that then gives Satanic more time. Because a Slark support, even if his lane presence isn't the strongest, pulling waves, kind of opening XP for his offlane, when you do want to go D-ward, it's an extra 20-30 seconds of, oh, Slark's here, gotta wait 1 second, hold up. And then Satanic's like, thank you for that extra wave I farmed indirectly because of what Slark is doing. So XG, they need more control and a way to get rid of Slark quickly to then find Satanic.
On that note, I wonder to what extent do they want to address the Slark? Because there are heroes that are good versus Slark that they play. The Leshrac, for example, on XM is something they could run. He's been popping off on that hero. You get that early blink, you punish this hero. You could also choose to address it from the support role with a Disruptor. That hero is a popular pick versus Slark as well. You glimpse back into the Static Storm, but I don't think you want both. That would be over-addressing or over-correcting.
I mean, it's like something I haven't seen enough against P-Vision. They play these like more volatile offlanes, but I haven't seen someone just like double down on this lane. Like you get this Disruptor Ursa, Disruptor Anti-Mage, like whatever, 18 pick your carry, set it up earlier with the 5, because this is most likely the Slark 4 who's gonna do that. P-Vision get themselves a snap, solid laner. You have low Shredder against the Tombstone if you want. Cookie safe. Just overall, probably one of the best supports of the tournament.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I actually have XM in my fantasy, and I get 90% more fantasy points if he's a blue hero. So I do hope it's like a Leshrac or a Storm.
Wait, his Lesh is legit as hell. It's so good.
I mean, it's pretty good here. You see a Snap or a Slark, you don't really care. Just jump on them, kill them. Yep. Blue hero, please, XG.
7-0 record on Snap for Ducalis. I mean, that's also probably because there are so many other heroes people want to ban out against P-Vision that he gets his hands on it time and time again. But that is a phenomenal record as the most picked hero from the tournament. I don't know if it still is, but it was for a long time. The Disruptor coming out on the side of Extreme.
Exceptionally good hero, right? The fact that we saw the tournament yesterday with BB. You get Mana Boots, Blink Dagger into instant Agnum.
Yep.
And then you keep kiting, you keep playing on Thunder Strikes, you're getting vision, you're slowing, you can then glimpse back. Like Slark, as we already mentioned, you want to go in, and then you kind of want to retreat, you want to kind of kite back the fight, buy time, provide information. You get no information. Disruptor will bring you back and kill you. So I think that the answer to Slark is done. Tick, move on. Now start trying to find other heroes to make the draft have good meaning.
Just a quick sidetrack is I remember during
this guy knows his matchup because he pops these heroes like a billion times to actually try to make it happen. And Rasta is quite interesting here. Shadow Shaman is not a hero we see too often. I feel like the Quartz doing one of the more recent GL Valakias. People play this Warlock Shaman, Undying Shaman quite frequently. It gives you like very good building and early roach, but you drop the Doom, you drop the Snake. And I guess overall, it's a good laner. You have people that like bring it to you. You have the Flight Starter, so more push to back it up. I like it.
I don't know if they want to get it. It's becoming a very good scale game for PvP if they want to get it at some point. You don't care about Undying, Disruptor Shaman, and Illusion. Again, to pick it here with choose and counter pick for XG might be a bit bold.
And then you would get your last track on 18.
Then you get your last exactly, but like not now. But I want XG to start respecting it potentially in either the next pick or the 2 bans, as I'm already thinking that it's becoming a good game for Satanic to pull later in the draft.
Do you guys want to know what PL's win rate is this entire competitive season?
It's bad. It's real bad.
The other day.
No.
All the games played, it's like 18%.
Yeah.
That's atrocious.
So hopefully not that hero, but honestly, if there's a team that can make it work, it would be cool.
Yeah. Okay, so you get the Lycan and okay, so the puck. So it's on XG to kind of decide, okay, what is more valuable for us? We need to close the phase with our mid against the puck, which this is a hero we've seen pop off a lot, especially by PK. Or you want to do something against the Lycan? You want to like lock in a troll with your disruptor, like play fast and you don't really want to play that against the Lycan. There's the Ursa option if you want, or do we feel more like it should be the mid hero, for example?
I feel like there's some major problems right now for XG, where to kill a hero, it's the static storm, the shaman jump. But to do that, the Lycan will scout, the Slark scouting you, puck jumping in and out, finding ways to initiate the fight. XG need to have a really clean, like, pick off and play. But pick off and play against all of this wave push from P-Vision will be extremely difficult.
Well, that was a 100% win rate troll up until earlier today, but still an incredibly strong hero. How does it fit in here?
It's very strong. It's one of the OG counters to Lycan. You're playing with a Disruptor against a weak 4. You definitely have a recipe for success. You're gonna get an Aegis in this game because you have the Tombstone, because you have the Snake. Troll is good at it too, so I think XG are quite happy. The problem still exists though, that he mentioned the puck.
But at least they have a carry that optimized to be the front line. You send him in first. What hard block does the P-Vision have to stop the troll getting off, right? Like he can stand his ground, which gives Disruptor a chance to wait and hide in the tree line, wait for the fight to develop, and then they use their spell. So I'm looking at Army to get the early battle through, to get the early lead or whatever, and then become kind of the forward-thinking player on the team.
The way that I see this troll pick is that it solves some of the issues that XG had, because when I look at this draft and you see this Lycan and this puck coming together, I think, okay, this Lycan will protect the puck, because puck is picked with 2 counters, Disruptor plus Shaman. These are heroes that have the catch to stop the puck from popping off. But if you're playing against Lycan and he's throwing his summons at you and you're a Disruptor or you're a Shaman, what do? You don't have the freedom in a fight to lock down that puck. But this Troll Warlord, if he shuts down Lycan in lane and just makes it so that his entry point into the game is later, then the puck issue is solved by that, just by extension of Lycan not being able to create space in the puck games.
Actually, you just need the punish. Like, when you look at a 20-25 minute fight, it's beat together with the vision, then they're going to control. If at any point they break away from a weak formation, P-Vision will, of course, exploit that.
Yeah, actually, they definitely have this type of lineup where it's like they're gonna dare P-Vision to come to them. Like they're gonna go to a tower, drop the Snake, drop the Tomb, Troll's gonna start hitting, and then it's like, how do you answer?
Yeah.
And that's not the most ideal fight for a Lycan. He wants to like go on your back line, kind of snack on your supports, but they're very good at protecting each other. So XG, they do need an XM hero.
I am enjoying their bans though. They're like, Satanic has a last pick, of course, on the side of P-Vision. Then let's remove his Tinker and his Meepo just to not get anything unexpected out there. And it will be the Slardar coming out. The XM Slardar is a little bit of a classic.
Yeah, and it gives just good initiation to the fight, right? It's if Slardar finds hero with Troll, that's going to be a kill. Slardar plus Shaman with the ultimate from Shaman, another kill, right? It just gives ways to punish if P-Vision are split on the map. So I don't mind it. It is good scaling. Slardar very quickly can become tanky as well with the Aghanims and the BKB. He stands his ground. Yeah, it's a nice way to give XG late game potential and also survivability through the mid game, through pickoffs.
And the last time that